Before we get into this, I just want to give all credit to Ali4 on Reddit because I'm pretty sure they figured out all of the Gorosei Devil Fruits and who their final opponents in the series are going to be. And I've got my boy Sai with me to go over all of this cool, interesting information.
What's up, Zhoniin? Thanks for having me on, as always.
If we look at this panel of the Doflamingo pirates bowing before him in the flashback, you know, when we saw Daffy as a little kid, that directly one-for-one parallels to the Gorosei bowing to Emu, which we've talked about before. Like, I do think Daffy is a low-rent retelling of what Emu did. And going off of this, if we, or should I say, as Ali4 has showed us, you can just one-for-one line up the Doflamingo pirates with the Gorosei. And if you do that, you can also match it up with tarot. So I'm not going to bore you with the major arcana and all that stuff, but I'll put it on the screen right here. So if you want to pause it, you can look at it and you can see how Ali is making sense of all of this. So the main thing that really opened my eyes to this and made me think that this is probably what Oda was going for is because Ali4, using this equation, I guess you could say, figured out that Saturn, you know, our boy Jay Garcia, was going to have some kind of fire ability or an elemental connection to fire, and that their devil fruit would have something to do with a bull or like a minotaur, like a half bull type thing. Now they were 100% spot on, of course, because, you know, it's Oda, but they are so close that I'm thinking that the rest of the things that we're going to be talking about in this video are very close as well. And also they figured that the reverse character of each Gorosei, and that also relates to like tarot cards, because if you just have a tarot card like straight up facing you, you can also just flip it upside down and it will represent something else. And I guess it's supposed to represent characters in the series as well. So Saturn's reverse character is Professor Clover. And that makes sense because, you know, when we look back to the Ohara flashback, when Saturn gives the order for the Buster Call, he like cries for some reason. Or it looks like he's crying. It looks like he's upset.
He's grimacing. Saturn, it's interesting because we could see him grimace in that, maybe grimace is the wrong word, but we see him regret the decision that he has to kill all of the Oharans. And then we cut over and we see that he views everyone else, all humans, as insects. So it's like, wait, why did he feel regretful about this situation? Is it because they got too close to the truth and he didn't like that? Or is it because he has, you know, some similarities to Clover and he doesn't like to see someone like that go down? Which makes me wonder, like, why he came to Egghead, right? I feel like there's something with him and scientists. Maybe it's because he's the, of course, godhead of science and scientific defense. I feel like it has something to do with that. He just has a closer bond to archaeologists and scientists.
I mean, that's exactly 100% spot on. That leads to his final matchup probably being Robin or Frankie or both. Now, we also know that, you know, York has gone rogue from the Vegapunks and will probably have the Seraphims or something as like their crew. So maybe that's what Frankie's final opponent is, and maybe it's Saturn that winds up fighting Robin. But I think either or a team up, because they did team up in Thriller Bark. So I'm thinking that for sure one or the other is going to have Saturn as their final opponent. But
what's cool about Frankie... Oh, sorry about that.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah, what's cool about Frankie fighting good old Saint Saturn right here is that Frankie's actually down on the Fabrio phase along with the rest of the crew, right? He's one of the few Straw Hats that's actually faced against Saint Saturn. He knows what his powers are, or at least have experienced it firsthand. And with Frankie being the science guy of the Straw Hats, you know, he's idolizing Vegapunk. I feel like if Saturn were to harm Vegapunk, I feel like Frankie would want revenge to some extent too. I could totally see them fighting each other at some point.
And we did kind of maybe get a little tease when Frankie saved Luffy from Saturn, like from him stabbing him, which was like kind of like a nice flex there from Frank. Maybe one of the most significant things he's ever done.
It does make me wonder too, like Saturn's power, right? We've seen him like death stare at many people now. We've seen that he has this presence where people can't move around him. And I'm like, maybe a good workaround would be if you were to put a robot in front of him. Maybe his ability only works on living creatures. And if Frankie, being the madman that he is, he could create a robot that could potentially fight Saturn. Or maybe the robot from Egghead Island will do something as well.
I would love that. If we had like another Luffy and Nell moment, like they're such like a big imposing final boss and they're just wrecking everybody. And then suddenly they blast one character and it does nothing. And they're like,
yeah. Like, what do I do now?
Yeah. But now we're going to go into the rest of the 4 Gorosei. And this is where things get really fun, at least for me, because I love speculating about stuff like this, especially when it seems like it's going to be true. So we'll go into Mars. St. Marcus Mars. He's the tall guy with like the droopy mustache. So his devil fruit, mythical Zoan, which they all probably have, is going to be probably modeled after some kind of Thunderbird. Now, Ali Fleur is not going off of all yokais here because, they obviously couldn't have the foresight for that. Although we will talk about another yokai later on that they speculated about, but I'm thinking that all of the Gorosei have yokai-based fruits. Just in my opinion, I think that's where Oda's going with it. So Ali Fleur thinks that this is probably going to be like a Thunderbird, and the Thunderbird is not yokai based. It's more so like Western mythology, I suppose.
Like a Western mythological creature.
But I think this also makes sense that it's going to be some kind of yokai bird or some kind of bird thing because he looks like a freaking bird in the silhouette. So yeah, that it's probably
you see like the wings, you see the beak. Like it's got to be a bird. I don't know what else that could be. If Oda does a bait and switch, I'd be so shocked. Be a plot twist I did not see coming because he does look like a bird. If anything, he looks like the Kozuki symbol almost, right?
Oh,
yeah, just the way the bird is like spread out and everything.
Probably not a coincidence, knowing Oda.
Yeah.
So the power that this fruit could have likely relates to wind and thunder. And we thinking about that, it's like, yeah, sure. I don't see why not. But also it's like, doesn't Dragon have something like that too? So I'm not counting this off or writing this off, but I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens with Dragon. But I do think that the Gorosei definitely have elemental abilities at this point. And we'll go further into that. But the reverse character for Mars is none other than Gonfall.
The Sky Knight.
The Sky Knight, who looks like he could be Mars' brother.
Yeah, I remember when we first saw the Gorosei and we were getting them more and more in the spotlight. People were like, yo, like, what about Gonfall, though? Like, why does he look so akin to Marcus Mars? And I was like, I have no clue. I feel like there has to be something. Like, there's no way Oda designed Gonfall and then said, you know what? I love this design so much, I'm going to bring him into the Gorosei.
I mean, anything is on the table. I mean, if you told me that, if you told me that, like, out of context, us not talking this video, I'd be like, yeah, why not?
Why not, dude?
But for
why not?
His possible final opponent, looking like Nami, right?
If they are indeed this elemental bird that flies around, I feel like Nami would be the most appropriate opponent.
Yeah,
just
like
because we don't have a lot of long-range Straw Hat fighters. We have Nami and then we have Usopp. And I feel like if we teamed up Robin and Frankie against Saturn, then if we're going with that thematic, then yeah, the team up would be Usopp and Nami.
Perfect. That's also what Ali Fleur is speculating here. It's going to be Nami and Usopp and maybe Sanji. Maybe he comes in for a little bit. Sanji also is going to fight a Gorosei, of course, but it's looking like this might be Nami and Usopp's final battle here, going against the Wind and Thunder Gorosei, which I think is fitting because, Nami's all about the weather. That's been set up. And Usopp, Usopp is Usopp.
Usopp's Usopp. He's there.
Because we're talking about Venus, or Venus Juro, Samurai Gandhi, which the name I prefer. But,
yeah, the name he's had ever since the day he was introduced. You can't avoid it.
Exactly. And he probably has Shodai Kitetsu for sure. And we already know that he's going to be Zoro's final opponent, or one of them, depending on if he fights Mihawk or Shiryu first or second, whatever. But this guy is fighting Zoro for sure. And his fruit is probably the most difficult to figure out because, like, he looks so ambiguous in his silhouette. But we do know that it's an awakened Zoan from the smoke cloud ring thing. So he probably has...
It's hard, man.
Yeah, the way that Ali Fleur is saying here is Hoshi Hoshi no Mi Star Fruit. And it has the ability primarily to manipulate Earth, I suppose. Because, we talked about Saturn with fire. We talked about Jupiter with wind and lightning. And it's looking like Venus has like an Earth type of power, Earth manipulation. I don't want to go too much into that because, I could totally see Oda doing that, but that's not even the main interesting thing that we're going to talk about with this guy. I swear I'm going to make it worth. So, his tarot card is associated with the King of Pentacles Minor, and then when it's reversed, it's the Empress Major. So stay with. The name Venus has always been associated to femininity and connected to the Empress card in Taromancy. And when it's reversed, it indicates a lack of fertility and confidence. His very masculine Wano name might hide some ancient insecurity from his distant past. This is something noteworthy, as cross-dressing has been a recurrent theme in Wano, and gender inequality seems very integrated in their belief, as we saw with Kuina's despair from being born a woman. And who do you think his reverse character is? Apparently,
I'm gonna take a guess and say Kuina.
Shimotsuki Kuina, you are correct. However, I still think that this is pretty compelling, because I think there's other characters that have had the hormone fruit used on them. Crocodile probably, but that would be an incredible twist if it was Venus that was actually a woman at first. Oh my god, I would flip out.
And then they changed over. And here's the thing, if that were to if this backstory does come true for V Nosujuro and he is Zoro's opponent, I feel like Zoro would have a lot to say about it, because Kuina understood her weakness and she said, I'm just going to keep on going. I'm going to, power through this. Zoro was her inspiration. If Zoro ever meets a character that has a similar backstory to Kuina, but they didn't fight through it, Zoro definitely would not let them live it down.
No, for sure.
Zoro would just go in.
Oh, yeah, and then he'll remember Kuina in that moment, and it'll give him, the boost that he needs. Oh, man, that would be... I love when we have these, fanficky, headcanon-y conversations, and it's just all coming together so nicely in our minds.
We feel like Marvel fans, we're just over here, throwing action figures together, what's going on here? What's working? What could happen?
Yeah, exactly. It would just be too good, but I think that this is a good possibility for sure. I just hope that people don't get upset with the kind of narrative that Oda would be putting forth here. It's Kuina, she was okay with staying a woman, but Venus had to become a man because he felt he was too weak as a woman. And it's trans people probably won't like that,
Yeah, but I mean, it would be an interesting one, because Oda, he plays around with social concepts like that all the time, so I don't think he would be afraid per se.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll word it or play it out. Yeah, in a respectful way. But maybe if you just make Venus look like a piece of crap.
I mean, we still have Crocodile's backstory, and we haven't even seen that yet, right?
Boy, I'm waiting. So we'll go to Mercury, aka Warcury. This is Mustache Man, or
Mustache Man.
Curly Mustache Man. We already talked about another Mustache Man. Yeah. So his tarot card is the King of Cups Minor, and he is the Magician when reversed. And this guy, I don't know. They say that he has Kappa no Mi model Seth. Seth being the brother of Osiris. I only know this stuff because I researched the crap out of it for One Punch Man. But basically has a water elemental power possibly, or some kind of power that works with water. And their reverse character is Fisher Tiger. So the possibility here, going off of the silhouette as well, is that it's some kind of hippo mythical zone, because Set can sometimes be depicted as a hippo in Egyptian mythology, and the silhouette to me looks like a hippo for sure, or something like that. Woolly mammoth, but the ears look more like hippo-y, So this guy is essentially supposed to be the end-all be-all for the Fishman. He is very likely going to be Jinbei's final opponent, or a tag team for Jinbei and Chopper to go against, since they are the Zoans and the oppressed ones or whatever. And Mercury apparently has some ties to the Fishman or something like that. He was upset that Jinbei was leaving the Shibukai or the Warlords because he was a symbol of harmony between men and fishmen. So, well, I mean, that's what Ali Fleur says. I'll take their word for it because they researched the crap out of this. So I'm sure they didn't really make any mistakes with the sources. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Jinbei has to have somebody, and why not? Why not have this Gorosei guy? So he's apparently displeased of how Aokiji didn't publicly act like someone of his rank, and also, we just talked about the concerns about Jinbei leaving the warlords. So everything about his name and position seems to be related to water, because in Japanese, Mercury is pronounced water planet. This can parallel to the Fishman because of his hippo devil fruit, because hippos can't actually swim. They just hold their breath and push themselves upward. So it's possible that he could lie or something and pretend that he is the only devil fruit user unaffected by the sea. So while he would actually float on the surface while using his mustache to propel himself in the water. I don't know, something like that. But I'm thinking that this kind of makes sense, because there's going to be the whole fishman type of thing there. As the fishman can exist in water, but he can, but he actually can't.
And this would be a One Piece gag too.
I mean,
we need at least a couple of the Gorosei to be a little bit goofy, right? We had Saint Saturn eating a crazy hot dog the other chapter. Now, a hippopotamus trying to swim in water with his mustache. Hey, not the first time Oda would do something wacky.
So now we come to the final one here, the most interesting. And it's going to tie not only into the full spectrum of the story from chapter 2 possibly, but also into a previous discussion that me and you have had, or you and I have had. So we've got Jupiter. This is the guy that I said looks like he comes from Water 7. Kind of looks like icebergy, kind of a little bit, but maybe that's not the case.
Strapping young lad.
The youngest of the Gorosei, at least ostensibly. So he has also a connection to water, but I don't think it will be the water that Warcury has. I think this might be our water manipulator this whole time. I thought it was Emu, and it probably still is to some extent, but maybe this guy, Jupiter, is the main water manipulator, because he has the tarot card of the Page of Cups minor, and when it's reversed, he does the Wheel of Fortune major. And this leads to Ali Fleur thinking that this guy has the Umibozu fruit, not Emu. So
the good old Umibozu.
Umibozu, it's coming. One way or another, it's coming.
One way or another.
And the reverse
if
character.
It's not Emu, it's this guy.
That's what I mean. It has to be one of them. Somebody within the Gorosei is manipulating water for sure. That's the only way to explain a vast majority of the story. So his reverse character is Judge, Sanji's father. Now, this could, in a way, parallel to the Vinsmoke family, because we see that Judge, a singular ruler, has 5 children, and one of them is the outlier, the black sheep, Sanji. So, this could be, according to Ali Fleur's research, that Sanji parallels to Jupiter, and that he is the black sheep of the Gorosei. He is the odd one out. Ibu maybe disrespects him the most and loves the other Gorosei more. So this means that it's very possible that Jupiter is a traitor amongst the Gorosei, and that he's actually a good guy the whole time, and that he's actually been slowly manipulating things to lead the D's to the dawn, because he knows that that's a better way about going about things or something, because we've talked about the Umibozu before. It's a yokai that can cause whirlpools and sink ships and stuff. But you have to present it with a barrel for it to drown you with. And the way that you can overcome that is if you give it a bottomless barrel, it'll just keep endlessly scooping water because you tricked it. But it goes back to chapter 2, where Luffy is on that ship in his barrel. Suddenly a huge whirlpool appears, and he's kind of screwed. So he gets into the barrel. It's possible that this could have been the first display of Jupiter's power to set Luffy towards the right direction. Now, I know that's wait, what? That's such a huge stretch. I know. But man, that would be incredible if Oda decided to do that. I mean, it's also possible that he was the one who created the knock-up stream on Jaya, as an effort to protect the island from the inevitable destruction that greed would cause it, maybe. And this makes Nolan's flashback make more sense, apparently, because, first he tried to kill Nolan by forcing an earthquake, but failed. And then once he realized that he couldn't stop his outstanding navigation skills, he chose to hide the island in the sky instead. And in the end, both Nolan and Calgara were right and wrong. there was no god, but there was still someone who had a right reason to stop him from what he was doing. Also, reverse mountain and Wano reverse waterfalls might also be the products of this fruit and him tampering. Maybe he also even acted in more subtle ways to supply fresh water sources, even to like Alabastapos. Because in Taromancy, Jupiter is often associated with the Wheel of Fortune, and it seems to fit very well this idea of this character who deeply believes in fate, causing good luck for characters he believes in, until the wheel turns and starts a new cycle, and his luck will eventually run out and he will be discovered by Emu. But he'll smile, as he knows it will mean Dawn is finally back. Now,
I like this a lot.
I like it a lot too, because I'm going to go into something that Ali Floor doesn't even mention here. And it's the information that we got about the man with the burn mark. Apparently he can make whirlpool. And yep.
Maybe it's not their ability. Maybe it's Jupiter's ability. Maybe it's Umibozu who's doing it to protect them. To protect that final road poneglyph from anyone who's not worthy.
And look at Jupiter's chest.
Oh, he has a scar. Okay, it took me a second. I was like, where am I going? Where am I going? Okay. Yeah, he does. A lot of the Gorosei have scars, right?
They do.
They do have scars, but Jupiter has one. He has like a crazy sword slash just going through his chest.
Could be a burn mark. Could be a scar. Is that the most accurate translation? Man with the burn mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Man with the burn mark. I've seen translations tossing it around to like burn scar, marked by flames, but you know, either way, they have a scar. They can't avoid that one. They can't avoid that one. I love the Umibozu though, and I love the whole betrayer Gorosei theme, because that's been something people have been talking about for a while now, especially with Saturn, right? We saw that he was the one Gorosei member going to Egghead, and everyone was like, oh, like, is he betraying the world government? Is he doing this of his own volition? What's going on here? And hey, if it's not Saturn, it could be someone else. It could be good old Jupiter. And the thing is that whirlpool from chapter 1, that is so wild that whirlpools are making a comeback. Because, you know, chapter 1, it's like, oh, Luffy, he gets captured by one, no big deal. Like, quirky One Piece, right? And then here we are 1,000 chapters later, and then Oda's like, oh, by the way, there's a guy with the 4th and final road poneglyph who just so happens to summon whirlpools wherever he goes. And it's like, dang, all right. Like, what are we doing with this? Like is the whirlpool from chapter 1, like, different? Is it just like a natural occurrence, or could it be perhaps divine intervention from somebody around him?
That's pretty much it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think about all this craziness in the comments. And of course, subscribe to Sai if you haven't already.
Nah, you don't have to. If you want to subscribe to me, subscribe to Zhoniin here.
So first we'll start with, like, how strong do you guys think the Gorosei members are in relation to, like,
bro,
what you
power
thought?
Scale, bro. Damn. All right.
Let's power scale some guys now.
Well, we don't need empirical evidence to, you know, have this conversation. We can just go off of feeling and thoughts. That's what I go off of. But, like, in relation to, like, the other strongest guys that you thought were in the series, like, for example, Dragon, the Admirals. Now that the Gorosei is, like, we know that they're strong, where do you think they are in relation to the rest of those?
Just before they go, I just want to preface to everyone who doesn't know, Braga's been doing a 25-day stream, and the last, like, 3 days has him been just breaking his brain over power scaling. He has a whole list going down.
The spreadsheet?
My spreadsheet?
Yeah, but Braga...
Yeah, wait, what? You have a spreadsheet?
Yeah, he was fine.
Yeah, I saw it. Braga had, like, Rayleigh and Kaido. I was like, what are you doing? You're making yourself even harder for yourself. Like, what are you doing?
And then
like, scaling them based on muscle, like, power techniques. Fucking breaking them down.
If it's not hard, it's not fun, you know?
And then for the other group of people, if you're not on Twitter or you didn't Anime NYC Summit stream, Cole has quite the take on this question that Zhoniin just said, and I honestly feel like Cole should just go first because it's kind of crazy, and I don't know if everyone else
I didn't see that clip. I did see that clip, but
I did the video on the channel.
I agree with Cole.
Yo, that's right. Okay, do you?
Wait. What are you guys' opinion on the Gorosei then? Like, do you think they're strong or weak?
I think they're strong, but the question is how. The real question is, are they stronger than the Admirals? That's the real ultimate question. Like, hey, if Jay wanted to, could Jay kill Kizaru? Could he kill Green Bull? Could he kill Fujitora? That's the real question, because everything kind of stems from there, right? Because
I think people are overrating these Gorosei.
Overrated Gorosei.
They're overrating the Gorosei.
That's the real question, bro.
They're old warriors at one point. They have, I think, unique abilities that we just being introduced to. But just to slap them over the admirals. Or I think some people are even slapping them over Kaido. What? No.
Because there's a fundamental question where it's like, okay, if the Gorosei were as strong or even stronger than the Admirals, like if all the Gorosei were able to fight against Big Mom and Kaido comfortably, why the hell were you guys sitting on your ass for like 20, 30 years as the Yonko just ran roughshod?
Arthritis, dude. They're old. Old age,
is, if you're that strong, why are you sweating when crocodile?
Stop sweating, bro. Just stop sweating. Stop sweating.
I love this.
You have 5 Emperor class dudes here. Stop sweating. What are you talking about?
What are we gonna do? We lost crocodile.
But then again, they're the same people who wanted to get rid of Gecko Moria. So like like when it comes to like losing a warlord, it's just like it's like an employee. You don't want to lose your best employee out there.
Kind of reminds me of like the Matrix. Like they want to have the 3 pillars of power, whatever they called it, the Yonko, the warlords, and the world and the Marines. Like they want to keep that intact so that they can have somewhat of a harmony in the world. Because I assume that at any point they could just everyone, right? Well, maybe. How much weight do you guys put on Saturn's feet against Sanji, or what he did to him?
Nothing.
Oh, the stare. The penance stare.
Not much.
Why not?
I put more weight on the whole Kizaru's reaction to like Luffy and that fight, and Saturn's dialogue in response saying like, it's expected that you would struggle against Nika, and then Kizaru, you can read into it, but on the baseline he does seem like he's emotionally upset that he can't he couldn't do more against Nika, and then Saturn's just like, it's fine, and then he's like, it's weird that you lost, but it's also fine because it's Nika. So I feel like that to me is an interesting point. So and that's reading into the situation, right? If you read into it and you see that Kizaru's sandbagging, which I can see, I'm just saying at face value right now, it looks like Saturn is lil broing Kizaru a little bit and be like, don't worry, lil bro, I got it from here.
He's just his boss.
Right, he's his boss, bro.
I'll agree with the boss take.
It could be that.
That's his job. Normally his job is to handle business, make sure you capture a few guys, That's what he said. Like, I think he said the line of, this is unusually slow work for you, Kizaru. And Kizaru was like, oh my god, my head.
Like,
so kind of feels like
that. But would he say it like that if he couldn't handle it himself, right? Because then it's implying that he could handle Nika soundly, right? He would, if the boss comes down, little bros you, and it's like, oh, it's the boss thing, but then he gets washed, then like, what are we reading?
You know why he's mainly there though? He's there because of the Seraphim, right? It's like the Seraphim need to be controlled, so that's why he's there.
Yeah,
is he?
I don't think I will.
He doesn't mention the Seraphim a single time.
The reason why he's there is because of Kuma.
Yeah, he conveniently ties into their backstory now.
Yeah, so. Right. But I don't know. I didn't read into it like Saturn is coming down and like, yo, I'm gonna take care of things from this point forward. It's kind of
the magic circle, him coming in, announcement: Saint Saturn is making landfall on it.
Don't look at him.
You don't think that he was? Yeah. Don't look at him, man.
Here's my thing.
Everybody evacuate.
All of that fanfare. If you think Saturn is stronger than Kaido, it makes sense because Jinbei didn't react like this when Kaido pulled up, or Big Mom. And Jinbei reacted like that to Saturn. If you feel like Saturn is stronger than Kaido and Big Mom, then sure. But I don't think so. I think it's just a presence that they're not used to feeling, and Oda is somewhat introducing something new into the story, and so we don't know how to react to it. Even what he did to Sanji, I'm sure it's some trick that he has that we just don't understand it yet.
It's a magic trick.
So you
pulled something out of the hat.
Like Duffer power. So, I mean, it's obviously pretty obvious. Duffer ability. But
so Saturn's like. Jinbei's reacting to like the magic circle. Like he's not like, it's not like because for me it's like a stepping stone of like Jinbei, like with the Kaido situation, he's not reacting, but with Shanks he did. He was like, oh, this is formidable, right? But then like the fear of God is actually in Jinbei right now, and I feel like Oda has been doing that, where he showed us with Big Mom, Jinbei versus Big Mom, he was able to like look her in the eyes and not fear her. Then there's Kaido, but then when Shanks comes up, it's like, oh wow, that's pretty incredible right there. And now with Saturn here, it's like we got like through Jinbei
it's not
benchmark.
like over.
You're kind of glazing it, bro.
It's more sinister.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah,
you're kind of glazing it.
It's like a
they
demon.
offer something ominous, but then they keep it pushing. It's like they're not stopping like what they're doing. They just feel something that's like unusually malicious and malice, and then we see that Saturn has energy. And to be fair, I like the theory where it's not necessarily Saturn doing it, but I like the theory where it's Emu controlling Saturn from afar. That's why he says that line of, "Hey, I love that theory. I love that theory, bro, because it makes so much sense."
That theory?
Because it's like, hey, it's been a long time since I've been to the surface world. Wait, but my guy, you were on a ship for like weeks. What are you talking about? Like, you've been here for literally like weeks on end to get to Egget Island. So it makes no sense for you to be like, it's been a long time.
Step on land, though.
No, I want to hear that. That's weird.
Wait.
That's
So the theory is that Emo...
He's on the boat. He's on the boat, bro.
So Emo is like he's puppet controlling like Saturn.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Like,
so the idea is that Emu has the ability to kind of fuse its essence into the Gorosei. So all the Gorosei have like their own powers, but Emu like kind of controls them, puppeteers them, makes them stronger. Let's say that circle that he uses, that's Emu's work. Emu teleports them to various locations. And then I think there was, because Paul, we talked about this actually when we were in New York, or when we were in the city. I think it was it Hidden who had the idea that Jay falls asleep before we see him teleport in. He falls asleep. And
that was
a
Preach.
Well, yeah, it was Preach, yeah.
Wait, does he really fall asleep?
Eyes closed.
It was a meme thing, remember, Sai? It was like before the last panel before he like activated, he's just like this on the very bottom and his like eyes are shaded in. So some people think that like he actually fell asleep and he's like astral projecting.
Oh, like he's like dreaming or something, you know?
Yeah,
it could be like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, right?
That's a crazy
like George Lopez and how he like falls asleep and he's like this big monster.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no, you watch Shark Boy and Lava Girl? Come on, like George Lopez, right?
I don't.
They're too old for Shark Boy and Lava Girl. What do you mean?
Dude, there's
what?
no one that doesn't watch Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Shark Boy and Lava Girl is like
that's a classic.
Our
dude.
time.
Yeah, I saw it. I just don't remember the plot.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was.
The plot is all about dreaming and imagination. Like
Spy Kids is my time.
The biggest power in Shark Boy and Lava Girl is sleeping with your eyes open.
Yeah, Shark Boy and Lava Girl came out in 2005.
Yeah, but I'm not. We can. We don't need to even date.
How old do you think we are, Par?
But
if it's not a dinosaur, you guys won't know what it is. Apparently, sorry.
So Saturn
Apologies.
astral projecting himself or something like that.
Some people say astral projecting. Some people think he's sleeping, and like Cole's saying, the remote control. And other people think that like that was just a meme, right? There's three camps. I don't even know which camp makes the most sense. I'm just for whenever somebody gives more power to Emu, like controlling all of the Gorosei and buffing them, I'm like, what are we doing giving Emu that level of insanity, right? Before even the Gorosei, we're gonna make it 5 puppets and Emu's like just that absurd, like. I don't know. It's just wild.
Emu could be the final villain of the story. Yeah, it's very possible, bro.
It could be, but controlling the 5 Gorosei remotely.
Then why again? Like, because the Saturn line is a very important line, and I don't want to hear, oh, he touched land, he touched grass for the first time, and like no. Bro.
I mean,
like,
he kind of did though, right? Like he's on the red line. It's like rocky crags, mountains, and shit.
There's trees. There's trees where he's at, bro. Stop.
I mean, but it's high up though. It's the altitude, bro.
They look at Mary Joa as like.
It's a holy
heaven,
land,
you know.
Yeah, it's a different realm. They call it lower realm and upper realm. They call it different realms.
It's like right now he's mingling with the poor, right? Like he's on Egghead Island. He's got the fodder around him.
To the peons.
He's on the ship. So in chapter, I got it. So because my chat's on me out here real quick. So in chapter 1093, at the end of that chapter, his eyes are shut or like kind of closed, essentially. And then next time we see him open, we have like that silhouette figure in chapter 1094. His eyes kind of activate, and then he's like, you know, like there's a warning. Goro says Saturn is touching down. Nani bakana, and then we just go from there. You know, yeah. So, but I mean, like look, like again, like they could be strong, but you just have to wonder, like how, like would it surprise me if someone like Crocodile could beat Goro say Saturn in a one-on fight? It wouldn't surprise me. Honestly,
Crocodile beating
Wow.
a Gorosei member 1v1 is kind of
it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
Wait, so you're
Okay.
under the impression that Crocodile is now that strong? Like off screen, he's just somehow progressed like the rest of the power creep as well?
Because Oda kind of glazes him up. I mean, because he has a bounty higher than King the Wildfire and Marco and
does.
Boa Hancock. It's like, yo,
I'm
maybe
on board
Crocodile
with
is that guy now. So
I love
yeah,
Crocodile,
maybe he is that
especially
guy.
in the movies. Like in Stampede, he was amazing. I loved his little
he
bromance
was
that he
cool.
had with Luffy.
Yeah,
I don't think Crocodile can beat a Gorosei. I think that one's kind of too. I think Crocodile can take a Holy Knight, but not a Gorosei though. I feel like that's reserved for the Yonko and Admirals.
Oh,
I
the
agree.
Holy Knights get a lot of gas
Holy
for sure
Knights.
by Dragon, but not the Gorosei. So
But
The Holy Knights could be
you know, the Holy Knights have
probably
no
stronger.
aura though.
yeah, the Holy Knights are gonna be pretty
I think
pretty
they're probably
damn
stronger
good.
than the Gorosei.
You think the Holy Knight's stronger than the Gorosei?
Wait, you don't think Figarland? Wait, hold on. But this is crazy though, because we have the biggest Shanks glazer here, and Figarland is his dad, right? Or his father, grandfather, whatever. So you don't think Shanks is just one of a kind, and like Figarland isn't also a
Let me
hockey
ask
god?
you guys about this,
Why not
because
shake his
at this
hand?
point, looking at the Celestial Dragons, could they just all be special?
Yeah,
Define special,
Because
like
look
special.
at
Like
where
inbred?
Bonnie was
Unique
beating grown
abilities.
men as a kid. He's beating grown men,
Uh-huh.
right? And we see what Shanks is. We see what Garling is. Saw what Doflamingo was.
Okay.
Could it just be special? And then Charlos,
So, like,
I mean,
Mosgar,
he's
yeah,
he's a tank. You know what I mean? So
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
sign up for League of Legends.
you
crazy.
know, are they just special? I don't know.
I think
I
some
can
of them
see it,
are.
like,
because,
them
you see like Charlos, and then you see like Figureland, or
why
so-
is he alive? Right? Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised
Also-
if like it's all prodigies up there.
What if? Because I think it's a really cool idea where they probably do have some sort of longevity, eternal life of some kind. Maybe they have some like whatever's going on with them because they look the same like 30, 40 years ago in that flashback with God Valley where we see Saturn, we see Kuma at God Valley. It looks the exact same. So the idea in my mind is that they could have some sort of gimmick power where they have this sort of long life and that makes them very like impervious to damage. But once you get past that gimmick, you got him, essentially. But you have to get past the gimmick first.
I could see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's just you got to figure it out.
It's
They're all
so
gimmick fights.
like what you're saying is like Logias. Logias were insane, and then you learn armament hockey,
But
and then
also,
you're
we
good.
got to consider the
Right.
fact that what Saturn is could be just an extension of Emu. Where
Back
not
to the
Emu necessarily
manipulation.
controlling Saturn, but like what you're feeling is Emu's power, and not necessarily just all Saturn.
I agree with that.
That's why it's so ominous, because it's Emu
Yeah.
plus Saturn. Yeah.
Like it's
I-
Emu's blessing. It's
Yeah.
Emu's like
Yeah.
it's like Emu's devil fruit they're sharing with Saturn or
Because
something.
we don't know what they are yet. You know what I mean?
I agree
Like,
with that. Like I can see Emu giving a blessing, but I feel like okay, like to paint the picture, I also believe that like at the moment I feel like Kaido on Egghead versus Saturn, it's Kaido. Like I feel that like very confidently. But do you guys feel that right now like Emu's controlling Saturn and what we're seeing is Emu's buff, or do you think it's like a situation where Kaido beats Saturn but then Emu buffs Saturn and now Saturn beats Kaido? Is it something like that, or is it just straight out in every regard this Gorosei is just weaker than Kaido?
I would
I
probably
think-
say the latter.
Yeah, I think Kaido's always gonna beat Saturn, but I don't think Saturn's gonna be a pushover though, right? Like he's not gonna like exactly fall over and die in a retirement home.
Somebody saying in my
I
chat
think
that
he'll give
Saturn
him a
is
good
basically Jack.
Yo.
no,
Let's
that's
go.
We talked
see,
about
Jack
this. We
is
said
that's slander right there. Calling
Okay,
him
but
Jack.
here's
I
the
think
reality.
Jack gets unnecessary slander. He's not even that bad.
He's not.
okay, he's not that bad, but the reality is the way Shonen goes, is it the world where Saturn's the weakest Gorosei?
More than likely.
Jack's not gonna even beat Cracker, to be honest, dude.
I don't think. I mean, if we had to guess and we had to put our money on one of the Gorosei, it wouldn't be Saturn for me.
Be the strongest one? No. Probably
to be the
Tommy.
strongest. No.
To be the
It's
name.
either
Yeah.
it's either Sanji's dad or Gandhi.
No, dude, it's
Yeah,
gotta be the
Tommy.
fat one.
I think
No,
I think
it's
Fat Short
Ju-
got Tommen.
it's
I
Ju-
think it's in the name.
Sanji's dad,
Tommen.
yeah.
Samurai guy.
I think it's gonna be Warkuri.
He has Shodai Kitetsu. He has to be. And he's going to fight Zoro.
He at least has something showing that he's strong.
But they all have guns though, right? Like we gotta,
That's true.
Except for him,
but also,
what is a sword to a gun?
Hey, Shanks has a gun.
Sanji's dad is also the youngest there, so he might still be in his physical prime.
But then also, like, when it comes to like the swordsman, like the guy, he's like what, like the god of finance? Finance? I mean, the finance guy, the money dude ain't gonna be top one. Come on, bro.
Maybe he's a bounty hunter though. Maybe that's why he's the finance guy. He's over here cashing heads.
Hey, Cole, money is the root of all evil, so that may amplify.
I don't want to hear that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Emu is root of
he's
evil.
bald, so he has like pent up rage.
Emu is.
Dude.
Don't give me that.
Technically, he's the power scaler, right? Because he's putting the bounties on the people to keep the finance. So he's
stealing money. You guys know how strong everyone is.
Yeah, he looked at Roger and said, $5 bills.
Don't sleep.
But remember what they said about remember how, like, what they said about when Luffy got the Gear 5? I think it was Saturn, like, yo, was it a good idea to make Kaido mad? I'm like, yo, like, this is a sign. Like, they don't want to make Kaido mad. Making Kaido mad is a bad idea, bro.
No, that's politics, dude. It's like losing a Yonko.
For reasons. Every time
Kaido's been sleeping on Wano for 20 years. He hasn't done anything.
But the problem is that if they make Kaido upset, they can incur his wrath. That's
but also they have backroom deals with Kaido.
Before we get into it, I want to give 100% full credit to Yasin Boriga on Reddit because they have finally discovered Blackbeard's biggest secret and how he is not only able to have 2 devil fruits, but actually 3. And believe it or not, the secret lies in his laugh. Because as we know, many characters in One Piece have a laugh that is taken from the name of their devil fruit. Some examples are Whitebeard with his Gururara, which comes from his devil fruit, the Guruguru no Mi, and we have Perona with her laugh, the Huru 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 Huru, which is of course from her Horo Horo no Mi, and also Big Mom's chef. His laughter was kuku kuku kuku, and his fruit, the kuku kuku no Mi, and that of course lines up with his kuku kuku no Mi fruit. So now if we come to Blackbeard's laugh, the zer ha 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 ha. That begs the question of like, what fruit would that be? If, in theory, it is tied to a fruit, which, consider I'm making this video, I'm pretty sure Yasin is correct regarding that theory. And the answer is, Blackbeard most likely consumed, you guessed it, a mythical Zoan devil fruit. And it could be modeled after the Bai-Zei, or the Bai-Z, and as it is called in Japan, the Hakutaku. If we combine the first and last letters of his name with the capital letters, we get Ziha, which is Teach's laugh. So anyway, the Bai-Zei, or Bai-Z, is a spiritual being that is described as a tiger, sheep, or lion, or whatever is important, I suppose. It has several horns and has 3 faces, 1 on the front and 2 on the sides. Each face has 3 sides, and if you'll notice, Blackbeard's flag has 3 skulls on it. And I'm sure almost everyone watching this video is aware that the 3 skulls on Blackbeard's flag has been the crux of countless theories tied to him. And I think it's for good reason, because Oda put that there purposely to, hint at what Teach's secret was. But aside from the skulls, he also has 3 guns. And according to the legend of the Bai-Zei, it has 3 souls. So this could explain why Teach is able to eat 2 extra devil fruits, because he has 2 extra souls for the fruits to take hold of. Now, going back to the Bai-Zei, the most prominent characteristic of it is that whether it's a tiger, sheep, or whatever, it has a beard. And if you'll notice in this picture below, which is, a mock-up of the creature, his beard is very similar to Teach's. Now, does that mean that that's where Oda got it from? Absolutely not. But I think it should be looked at for sure, at least to be considered as a possibility. And also the Bai-Zei is described as like an earthquake killing yokai, or the earthquake monster, who would like shake the earth when it was angry, allegedly. And I'm sure that's ringing some bells because we all know that Teach has Whitebeard's earthquake fruit, the Guruguru no Mi, we were talking about earlier with his laugh. So that could line up there. And also just the fact that the Bai-Zei is a yokai really makes me think that this is true, because it was recently revealed that Saturn of the Gorosei very likely has a yokai devil fruit in himself, the Ushi Oni. Now it hasn't been confirmed yet, but man, it's very likely that that is the case. Ace. So I'm thinking that Oda probably borrowed a lot of yokais into his mythical Zoans. Now, before we go into more smoking guns and little clues that Oda had left us throughout the series that almost proves that Blackbeard has a mythical Zoan devil fruit already, I just want to go a little more into the Baize because its mythology lines up with even more things tied to Blackbeard. So the meaning of the name Baize in kanji is white marsh. It's the names of two characters related to each other, and also one that killed the other. So you can equate that to Whitebeard and Marshall D. Teach, since Blackbeard killed Whitebeard. Also, the actual pirate from which Teach was quoted was known as Blackbeard, and he was called Edward Teach and pronounced Edward Thatch. Oda manipulated his name and divided it into 3 related characters: Edward Newgate, Thatch, one of his commanders, who was killed by Teach, and he took both of their fruits. Isn't that crazy? I didn't even realize that until I read this. Blackbeard took Thatch's Darkness Logia because he was the one who discovered it. That was the fruit that Blackbeard was looking for. And then coincidentally, Thatch got it and killed him, took it. And then, of course, famously killed Whitebeard, took his devil fruit. That's so cool and just makes me respect Oda even more. But going back to the Baize, legend says that it knows all forms of demons and spirits. And that could be relating to what Teach says to Ace in chapter 440, where he says that, and I'm paraphrasing, that he knows all of the devil fruits from reading the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia. And this could explain why his crew is taking all of the strong fruits. Shiryu getting the invisibility fruit, Katarina Devon getting the mythical Ninetales fruit. It's because Teach knows all about these fruits and where to get them. But going more into that, the Baize is also called the Cultured Beast, and its knowledge is said to go back to ancient times. And in the volume 81 SBS, Oda said that Teach's favorite hobby is historical research. And later on in volume 88 SBS, he says that if Teach was not a pirate, he'd be an archaeologist. And going a little further, the Baize can read all human languages. So that could posit that Blackbeard can read the freaking poneglyphs. And I didn't even think about that before. Yassine brought it up here, but that is such an intriguing theory. And I'm thinking it's true because, the Blackbeard pirates aren't really worried about getting someone who can read the poneglyphs, right? They've never really brought that up as far as I can remember. And they never really have been looking for someone, and they're not really interested in Robin. Now, we originally thought that they were going to take Pudding from Big Mom to awaken her third eye in order to read the poneglyphs, but maybe that's not it. Maybe they need her for something else because Teach can already read the poneglyphs. Now, another possibility of Teach being able to read the poneglyphs is because he may come from the Buccaneer race that Kuma comes from. They look similar, that's pretty much all I have right now, but considering that Blackbeard is a D, he comes from the Dawn lineage, starting from Joy Boy, and it's very likely that Joy Boy was a Buccaneer himself. I'm not 100% on the Blackbeard reading the poneglyphs, but man, that would be such an incredible reveal, especially if he learned how to do it from consuming the Baize mythical Zoan devil fruit. Oh, and also going more into the Baize, it said that its favorite food is herbs, and in Ace's novel, when the Whitebeard crew liberated a village from thieves, the residents gave them all flowers, and Teach ate the flowers, and everyone was amazed. And he asked the crew members to give them their flowers for him to eat. I don't know if that's paralleling to the Baize or whatever, but it is interesting. But also let us go to one of the other iconic Blackbeard things that hasn't been explained yet, and that's how he was able to injure Shanks. So Shanks' iconic scar is, 3 slashes down his eye. And considering that we saw a flashback of Teach and the Whitebeard pirates with this Vega claw, we just assumed, oh, that's how he got Shanks. He just, overpowered him, slashed him down the face with that claw. But what if that is not the case? What if that's why we haven't seen that flashback yet? What if it's because when Shanks was fighting Teach, he pushed him so far as to where Teach had to transform into his mythical Zoan form, and he became the tiger or whatever. And then in that form, he slashed Shanks' eye. And that's how he was able to get that over on Shanks. Because he just surprised the crap out of him and caught him with something he wasn't expecting. And that's not an excuse, because Shanks didn't make an excuse either. But I'm just saying that would be an incredible twist. Now, going back to the whole thing about the Baize having multiple souls, and that allows Blackbeard to have 2 extra devil fruits to occupy those souls. Those souls are also like his twins in a way, or his brothers, as to where they represent a different personality of him. And that could be why we see him act differently from time to time. Sometimes cowardly, sometimes charismatic, and sometimes very angry. I mean, yeah, that's the human condition, but we're talking about battle manga here. And also that could explain the inconsistency in his teeth. Sometimes he's missing them, sometimes he's not. And that also, of course, comes full circle with why he doesn't need to sleep. It's because the other soul takes over his consciousness, and then the others just go back into whatever and then just sleep. And this could also explain why Buggy and Shanks said that Blackbeard never sleeps. You know, when we saw them all first meeting in that flashback when they were kids, when the Whitebeard and the Roger Pirates met, it could be because his souls take cycles with his consciousness. So one is awake while the other one sleeps, and, you know, so on and so forth. And of course, it also goes back to when Luffy first met Blackbeard, and he was walking away from that encounter with Zoro. Nami asked about him singularly, but Luffy said no, it's them, which means that Luffy knew that Blackbeard had 3 souls this entire time. Meaning that, of course, he already had that fruit because Blackbeard probably ate this fruit when he was a child, and that parallels to Luffy, who also ate a fruit when he was a child, but not only any fruit, a freaking mythical Zoan. That is right, I think that could be the main linking factor between the ultimate rivals here. The 2 main Ds, Indra and Ashura, Sasuke and Naruto. They both ate mythical Zoans when they were children, and they are both leading them to the dawn in their own individual ways. And as for where Blackbeard could have gotten this fruit as a kid, not really sure, of course. Since it's a mythical Zoan, it's possible that it came from God Valley, since we know that Kaido's devil fruit, the mythical fish fruit, the Seiryu model, that was found at God Valley by Big Mom during the big battle between the Rock's pirates and Roger and Garp. So what if that wasn't the only mythical Zoan devil fruit there? What if there was another? Or maybe even more than just 2, but what if the Bai-Zai or Bai-Z mythical Zoan fruit was also there, and maybe Rox was able to steal that and give it to his son, allegedly, who is Teach? You know, Blackbeard. I made a video about that, and I think it's like common knowledge amongst the community at this point that Blackbeard is in some way probably related to Rox, right? If not his straight up son. So if he was able to eat this mythical Zoan devil fruit at such a young age, it's very possible that that's how he got it. And that could also parallel to Luffy, since Luffy got his mythical Zoan devil fruit from Shanks. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Once again, I want to thank Yasin Boricua for opening my eyes. This was so much fun to read, and yeah, let me know what you think about this theory in the comments, guys. And if you liked the video, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.
I don't know if Zhoniin wants us to go into dragon slander. We could burn down the stream.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, wait. How many people here actually like dragon, though?
Wait, are we all in agreement on slandering dragon here?
On the
No, we're not all.
No, we love dragon.
I like dragon more now that people hate him.
Yeah.
I like dragon in this last chapter. You know, he's like, yo, like I've been watching my son.
Braga.
I like that.
Here's a fun topic. Does dragon
We
have?
just need him to get lines.
I don't like his
There's
tattoo,
reasons.
man.
Does dragon
But
have the
are they
highest
warranted,
bounty in the world?
Ooh,
I actually don't
higher
know.
than Roger.
Well, I don't know
wait,
about
why do
that,
people-
but like currently,
why do
does he
people hate
have
dragon?
like the highest? Do you think?
Okay, hold on, real quick. People hate Dragon because Dragon ain't doing anything, bro. That's the problem. It's like people are like, yo.
What would people like for him to do, though?
People,
Oh, no, we're getting
people
on.
were
We're
hella
getting it.
pissed. You know this. People
One
were hella
country. I want to
pissed.
see
Oh,
dragon
because
When
liberate
Giddy-
one
Giddy-
country.
Kuma's girlfriend?
When
By
Giddy-
himself or something.
I'm not saying that I agree per se, but
Oh,
I'm
go
saying like,
slide
people
for
were
Kuma's
hella.
girlfriend. Why don't you dragon?
Bro,
You better slide for everybody's girlfriend
listen,
then.
Guinea. Listen, when she came back with the 10 Ubito's kid, I was like, yo, Dragon, you fucked this up,
Tough.
bro.
Yo, do you remember, like, Dragon had Ivankov sitting in jail.
He did. True.
Ivankov.
True.
He's not sliding for Ginny.
Yeah, but Dragon, you know
He
that
acted
when
like
Dragon,
Ivanka was a canon event.
you know that when we find out that Dragon does do anything, when Guinea has a situation, that
Yeah.
one particular, you know, people are gonna be like hella like sensitive to that. Like, what the hell, Dragon? Really? You didn't do anything when this happened? You're a monster.
I
you know?
guarantee you Dragon was doing stuff in the background.
I mean, let's see, bro.
I
He
think
was
they just
strategizing.
wanted
He was
him.
playing chess.
I think they just wanted him to keep the same energy that he had like during the reverie, like when they went to go get Kuma. Like, I think people just are thinking like, why didn't they just do that for Ginny? Because if we didn't already have the context for that, then I don't think people would have been so upset with Dragon.
I also, like the context of Dragon, it's not a one-off thing. It's like multiple things where it's not even like, I feel like each one of those things is slidable, but the problem is that like multiple times, it's like, even from Oda's perspective, he could have added like one line. For example, we still don't know why he's so fearful of Holy Knights, right? And yet we saw like a 20-year span of time period with the Revs, and there was no interaction with Holy Knights, period. And so like now, we have to wait until we figure out why Dragon has this like knowledge of the Holy Knights, despite like someone in the chat brought up like if Fisher Tiger raided Mare Joie, why wasn't there a Holy Knight? You know, those are questions that I feel like Oda's purposely putting voids in, and it's just not good for his character to have the voids. And so for me, it's like, I get why people are upset. We just have to wait. But I feel like with Dragon specifically, there's like 20 spots where it could have been 10, and he could have just slid in a line of like, oh, the Cypher Pole stopped Dragon from like moving from a certain spot, right? Like if he wanted to go to Ginny, he'd have to go through all of Cypher Pole. Like, I don't know, he could have added various lines where even, for example, another weird situation, because it's all contextual, still people have the debate of him versus Blackbeard on Baltigo, and like what that nuance was, and that's a voided spot. All we know is that everyone on Dragon's side is fine. Everyone left. Blackbeard clashed with Cypher Pole, but there was no mention of clash with the Revs. But yet people will still be like, well, if Dragon's so strong, why couldn't he just demolish everybody, right? And reasonably, if you look at Cypher Pole, there's not anybody that's like clowning on the top tiers at the time when we were talking about it. Now we know Lucci and Kaku are awakened, so yeah, that's crazy, but it's still a weird thing where it's not just one, it's like throughout the entire series. The only time where it's like, oh wow, Dragon's solid is when he showed up at Logtown, but like other than that, it's, you know, we don't really have a solid basis for talking him in a positive light.
I don't think it's been as clear, but I think based on what the things Otis showed about Dragon, I think one thing that we can't question is his integrity, right? Being a part of the Marines, his dad being the hero Garp, leaving the Marines, saying, I found no justice there, starting a revolution. Again, when we think of everything in the One Piece story, nobody's job or goal is more difficult because there's not really a blueprint of what to do. So he's the guy. Like, if he falls, everything crumbles. We can lose Kuma, we can lose Ivankov, we can even lose Sabo. If Dragon falls, it's over. So for him, he can't be as risky as someone like Luffy. Yo, I'm gonna pull up to Marineford to save Ace. Can't do that. It's just not. He has too
the
much
biggest
riding
goal,
on it.
but at the same time, it's like people always refer to, well, hold on now. If it was really, really, really that difficult, why the hell is Fisher Tiger able to go up there one man, save as many slaves as humanly possible, and then bounce? Like he saved Boy Hancock. Oh, Fish! Oh, they're just built.
They're built different.
He was him.
So the man with the crazy wind, mythical Zoan Logia powers, he ain't built different.
Yesterday, Rocco gave plus 20 Fishman buff on his couch.
Right?
I mean, Fisher Tiger isn't even that strong.
What I'm saying is, for Fishman, it's not that hard for Fishman to get away. That's why Jinbei got away from Big Mom. Nothing.
Yeah, but
the guy with the wind powers, it's hard for him to escape. Really,
the red line
can teleport too. I mean,
easy to escape.
Got some good powers in there.
The red line. There's no water at the red line. You know, it's dry.
You can dive. You can dive though in the ocean.
What I'm saying for Dragon,
1,000 feet with all the other people.
So this man, Fisher Tiger, climbed the red line, freed slaves, and jumped off the red line back into the.
So we want Dragon. We want Dragon to go right. Dragon has his wind powers.
Yes.
He goes up to Mary Joie. He saves Ginny, saves maybe a couple other slaves, and just gets out of there.
That's what a lot of folks are saying.
He just blows them away, right? Like, I mean, it is kind of silly. No, it's really dumb, but like
it is. But everyone's gonna always. But
it wouldn't be smart.
Because everyone's always going to refer back to Fisher Tiger. everyone's like, yo, Fisher Tiger, bro. Come on, man.
And
you
the other
done
part
this,
is
you could have go save Giddy.
Well, Fisher Tiger's stupid.
But also in that same chapter, Brago, in that same chapter, we have the line of Kuma saying, I could be anywhere, anytime, any place I want to be, period. And like he said that matter of fact. And it's like, that's a crazy line to have when he can apply that to, like, if Fisher Tiger had Kuma's power, we wouldn't have slaves apparently, you know what I mean? That he wouldn't need to burn down the place because he'd climb up and just pop, everyone's gone. And what would they do, you know?
That's also a side thing too. Like
Kuma's
doing a lot too.
Instantly, his paw fruit instantly was able to overcome Saturn and God Valley and free 500 people at God Valley. And yeah, maybe he didn't 1v1 Saturn. I'm not saying that, but there's still the Rock's crew, there's Roger's crew, there's Garland, there's Saturn, there's all these people. And the moment he got his fruit, he's capable of 500 people free. And that's insane on an island where they're actively hunting the people that he's trying to save.
Because of those other guys being there, though. Because they weren't worried about Kuma. You know what I mean? Like, because those are the big names are there.
Yeah, but they're worried about who he's saving. And yeah, they are worried about him because he's one of the rare bunnies that they're trying to...
Yeah,
they get the point.
Roger and Rock's there, so why would you care about Kuma, though?
Yeah, I'm saying, like, they're holding all the God Knights, etc. at bay. So, like, it's bigger fish to fry. They're not worried about Kuma.
Saturn cared enough to have a whole face-off.
That's why I'm telling y'all. Saturn is not strong.
He lost to Kid Kuma.
Okay, the admirals, well, the originals, are they all becoming good guys at the end?
No, hell no.
Yes.
Not Green. Oh, maybe not Green
just
Bull.
the original trio.
No, the original one. Kizaru, Kuzan, and Kainu.
I struggle for Akainu will never be a good guy.
He's already good,
but I can see him going against the Celestial Dragon.
Yeah, that's basically what I was getting at. Like, once the Void Sentry is revealed and what Emu is and all of that, I think Akainu will, turn on them. And he'll be like, this isn't justice. I know what justice is. Because it's already kind of been building up to that in a way. Like, the way that he's kind of disrespectful to them. And I don't want to go into, like, what Oda bases things off of, because I know that gets real controversial. But if you're familiar with, like, the story of Momotaro, how he, like, originally befriends, like, a pheasant, a dog, and a monkey. Like, it's obviously not a coincidence that that's what their code names are. So I think it is very possible that... Actually, me and Sai were talking about this, I think, last week, that there might be a parallel sequence in the final arc to Marineford where Luffy is staring down the three admirals, but instead they'll be behind him, or they'll be working with him at some point.
That's hot.
Yeah. Like, imagine Luffy holding that wooden pillar, but this time the admiral's on the other side.
Vomiting. Cole is vomiting.
It's gross, bro. It's gross.
It's good. It's good. That's Zhoniin, brother. That's Zhoniin. No. That's like some fairy tale,
which is bad.
Fairy tale is great.
That is bad. That's not a good thing. That's a horrific thing. No,
I remember where one time you used to love fairy tale. What happened?
Everybody used to love fairy tale.
What
happened to you?
We all used to believe in friendship, man.
You have to dust off the archive.
All used to believe in friendship.
Cole's about to delete the whole channel.
Friendship with
Laxus?
Laxus,
come
on. We're not
Come on.
Listen, those dark days are over. The whole point here is this, okay? Because we survived that Black Plague. We're done. Here's the thing. You have these villains. No. You have because the problem is that we have to make way for other Marines that are going to be actually good guys in the future. Kobe, all right, Meppo. Maybe Sengoku. These people are actually going to be good guys, and we kind of see them grow, and they're getting to that point in the future where, because what did Garb do? Garb said that Kobe is the future of the Marines, right? Kobe is the person. We have to make way for them to actually be the ones to conjoin the Straw Hats and the Marines in some unique way. You don't need Kizaru, you don't need Akainu or even Kuzan for that. Kuzan can say as a Black Pirate member and be an enemy for them in the future. You don't have
How
to
much
have
time
that
do you think is going to pass, though?
Yeah, we don't have time for Meppo and Kobe to get up there.
Kobe just did some nut stuff, so he's getting.
Well, he did, but here's the thing: Akainu, Kizaru, and Kuzan, they can lead the way. They can pull a Garp and lead the way.
Only Fujitora has that right. Only Fujitora has that right.
Why Fujitora? What makes him so special?
Because he's being the one that's actually set up with the blind justice, and blind justice.
Fujitora is an imposter. He should have been fired.
What?
We need more people like Kizaru, right? Just doing his job. just executing his friends. But that's the thing, though. Like, he's always kind of set up to turn, to switch sides, you know?
Fujitora is set up pretty well for that.
He's already
Fujitora pretty much already done that. Fujitora is like all the way there.
Oh, how about this headcanon?
Again, for him, makes sense, but everything else, no.
Cole, how about this headcanon? Because, like, I think there's been a discussion on Dragon's front, too, where he's supposed to be liberating and the revolution, whatever. And I think Morge was saying, like, Morge and Vinland, they were saying, like, he has a redundant place in the story because Luffy's ultimately going to be the liberator, right? So, like, Dragon could have an exit in the story, but also Akainu could have an exit story. So, how do you feel about them doing, like, a dual Kamehameha together? And then, like, they sing Kumbaya.
Wait, hold on. Yeah,
and
right.
Also, I don't even think that.
It's not a liberator, yeah.
Sabo has stepped into Luffy's spot where he's the hothead that's doing things that's not intentional, but it's working out, right? So it's like, I feel like Luffy in some ways is gonna liberate, but it's not. That's not his intention, right?
Never was, I think.
All right. So
unless he needs to because he owes somebody, right?
It's like a friend.
But that's why he always says like that. That's why he always says like, I want to be a hero, bro. Like, I'm not a fucking hero, man.
Like I'm not gonna lie. Like,
what you want to do?
He's unintentionally to buy in on the Dragon stock because I think once Oda gives us Dragon, it's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah, me and Sai have been saying
Dragon's gonna be great. How about this? Instead of like instead of the scene of like, you know, the admirals turning good, what if the admirals just believe in Dragon's sense of justice though?
If the if the admirals get defeated, if the admirals get defeated and then they stand down, fine. But I don't need them teaming up with Dragon side by side.
Well, yeah, they lose
style, and they're fighting against Imu the Gorosei. No, no back to back.
You don't want them back to back.
No,
it's like the Backstreet Boys. They're getting back together.
Back to back, kill me, bro.
And then they just glance at each other.
They're like the boys. It's like Squad 7.
Just like old times.
I hate it. I detest it. No.
The Fairy Tail Guild finally got back together. That's what it's gonna feel like.
If that happens, then that means the Gorosei are broken and that the Holy Knights are broken.
Because, like, think about it, right? It's like you're talking about. Wait, hold on. So think about it, right? In like the final war against the world government, you're gonna have the world government. You're gonna have, let's say, whatever destroyed Lucia Kingdom. You're gonna have Imu and the Gorosei. You're gonna have potentially all the admirals. You're gonna have the Seraphim. You have all these military forces across the entire planet on their side. On the opposite side, you have like probably Luffy and other crews leading the charge, major, massive crews. Then you got ancient weapons. You have Shirahoshi on your side, for God's sakes. You have potentially Pluton in Wano Country on your side.
And it's like,
wait a minute, bro. And then you want military powers as strong as the admirals to defect? No.
Well, okay. Well, the question comes in now because we could have somebody there that could throw a wrinkle in everybody's plan, and Blackbeard.
Yeah, where does Blackbeard?
Blackbeard is there.
Is he a big enough wrinkle to offset 2 ancient weapons? I don't know.
What if? Hey,
Blackbeard?
This is
I don't know, bro.
This was a crazy idea.
Blackbeard with Kuzan.
He has plans, but we're talking about like literal ancient weapon class things, my boy. We're talking about Pluton. We're talking about like Poseidon.
Yeah, but Blackbeard has the power to destroy the world.
Bro, listen.
But Blackbeard wants to side with the world government.
He could destroy the Red Line. He could knock him out.
There's gonna be a clear distinction once you see these things activate. That these things are gonna be crazy.
Sure, Hoshi can call in a lot of fish.
That can like destroy entire continents. Yeah. I mean, I don't tell you, bro.
But the thing is, Blackbeard wants to side with the world government.
Might have a third fruit by this point. Might even have his own ancient weapon. Who knows?
Yeah, there'll be exceptions, obviously, but.
At this point, we Blackbeard said he wants to side with the world government. So shouldn't that be taken into consideration? But then, here's an interesting thought.
That's his plan, but that's not his goal.
What if? Because when you think about Blackbeard, and I thought about this a long time ago. It's like when you look at it, Blackbeard's like he hasn't done anything to hurt the Navy per se until recently. But prior, it was all like everything except for essentially like. No, even Marineford, except for like the casualties, it was a large thing. Like taking down Whitebeard and taking down Portgas, D Ace, Goldie, Roger thing. That's a huge thing that he handed to them. The fallout is a separate thing. Now, are they happy? That's also a separate thing, because he became a
leverage par.
He became a warlord and a Yonko. Yeah, he has leverage.
He has leverage now.
His title is an admiral, isn't it, or is it a commodore?
Yeah,
Commodore Admiral.
Whatever Teitoku is. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, they go back and forth between Commodore and Admiral, but I do think Blackbeard has leverage now because what if Blackbeard does a public execution of the Marine hero?
So I got a pretty spicy theory here today. Going to be going over it with my boy Sai as usual. And the topic of today is that Thriller Bark is very likely to be God Valley, surprisingly. Just initially, what do you think about that?
I feel like it makes a lot of sense, right? Because God Valley was in the West Blue. Thriller Bark is an island from the West Blue. And Thriller Bark is an island filled with so much mystery, right? Because we have the zombie generals, which we'll get to here in a little bit. We have its weird architecture. Moria, I don't know how Moria does it, but he just turns an island from the West Blue into a ship and sets sail. Like, it's something that not a lot of people talk about. Like, hey, Iceberg, Frankie, they're great shipwrights. But I feel like we got to start talking about Moria because that's kind of a feat, right?
That is a feat, but what's even more of a feat is how did he get it to the New World? Because in chapter 925, when we see Moria pulling up to Hachinosu, he has Thriller Bark with him.
Yeah. So it's like, wait, did he put a giant bubble around the ship and go underwater? Or even crazier, did he go above the red line with the pass from the world government? Like, there's no good way to explain it even. And then, I mean, he was in like the Florian Triangle in the beginning. And it's like, wait, how did he pass Reverse Mountain even? Like, how did Moria do all this?
That's what I'm saying. It's probably not going to be revealed. But what I do think will be revealed is that this is God Valley. Well, it's not like fully God Valley, since we, have recently seen what it looks like. It has those two big stone pillar things, that we also talked about before. Maybe the past, somebody split that, but it's kind of just like a portion of God Valley. And the big dead giveaway. Also, let me just say that I discovered this theory from Kokogaku OP on Twitter. This guy is awesome, always coming out with these crazy theories. The first thing that he at least thought of was Hogback's castle or mansion or whatever it is, because when we first see like the initial flashback of Kuma's backstory from Bonnie, I think touching his memories in Egghead, we saw just that quick couple panels of like the mansion or the castle type place, and then we saw the silhouettes of the celestial dragons. Also, shout out to Parvision, because he immediately knew that was God Valley just from seeing the celestial dragons, which was pretty impressive. But you could apparently line up the mansion or the castle place that is on God Valley to Hogback's, and it's like 1 for 1.
Yeah, the architecture kind of fits, right? And the craziest part is that, the architecture fits. But you know what else fits? The people.
Exactly.
The people we see at God's Valley, right? The Rocks Pirates. Some of those members are the general zombies that Moria controls. So what are we saying? Imagine a world where Thriller Bark is not God's Valley. So you're telling me Moria and Dr. Hogback went out and found dead Rocks Pirate members and dragged them over here? I feel like that has to be the case for Captain John, because we know Captain John 100% did not die at God Valley. So Captain John, yes, we excavated his body, brought him back, but the other two dudes, come on. I don't know.
Where did
it's really interesting.
Where did he die?
So we don't know where Captain John died exactly, but we do know that after Rocks fell, he went off and he became his own pirate captain. He's the one who created this treasure that Buggy was searching for pre-time skip. If you remember, in Impel Down, Luffy had that little armband.
Yeah.
That was Captain John's treasure map. So he made that treasure after God Valley, presumably.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we had a timeline on that stuff yet, because he's vaguely talked about.
Yeah. He just shows up at Thriller Bark for whatever reason, drinking the same bottle he was at God Valley. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. And then when you go on further, it's the zombie that's supposed to be Silverax and all the other guys, they're wearing the exact same clothes. So it's what's going on here? Do they just not change their outfits that often?
Yeah, exactly. And even going into the flashback of God Valley, when we see the Rocks Pirates going against the Roger Pirates, there's guys that line up with the zombies even more. There's that forearm pistol guy and the guy that has the Blackbeard claws. Like they're there in both instances, which is crazy. And also, like you were saying, not Wang Xi, because we initially thought that the long-bearded guy was Wang Xi because he looks like he would have that name. But apparently that's not him because we found out that he was recently at Hachinosu. So this is just another guy, but he was there. And he's also on God Valley. I don't think he had like the elephant bottom to him. Maybe this came after the fact.
that's a Hogback exclusive, right? Having an elephant bottom. Yeah.
But maybe these guys hilarious. Died on God Valley, and that's just why they're there, possibly. I mean, some people had to have died in that battle. It is a flashback.
At least one person must have died. Yeah.
And that's the only time people die.
It's a flashback, so the gloves are off, man. The gloves are off in One Piece when a flashback rolls over, you know? You got at least like 5 dead people right there. And also, death sentence.
Also the fact that Kuma shows up to Thriller Bark. You know, that's like his real big introduction to the series, aside from when we see him at the first Warlord type meeting that we saw. I think it was like after Alabasta. So that makes sense that he would show up there, you know, since we know that he was at God Valley, you know, back in the day. He was a slave there. So I like that all connects. Another thing that I think is kind of like solidifying this, we're going to have to go into the Viver cards, which, you know, we both love and hate. But apparently in Moria's Viver card, it says that after he was defeated by Kaido, he went back to the West Blue. And that's apparently where he built Thriller Bark. And we know that, you know, God Valley was in the West Blue. So, do you put weight on that, or
it's strange because I love this theory. I'm actually on board with it as well, but I will admit the one flaw is the timeline, because Moria lost to Kaido around 20-ish years ago, right? Because it was in the land of Wano. So God Valley was 40 years ago. So it's like, wait, like, did God Valley just exist all that time and then Moria came over and swooped it up? I think what might be plausible could be that God Valley got cut in half again, right? We saw the rocket cut in half. I think maybe it got split in half again. One half went missing and then the other half just drifted apart. And then that's when Moria swooped over, went to his, quote, hometown, or, you know, the West Blue. And then that's when he took the remnants of God Valley and turned it into a ship. I feel like that could be it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a hard one.
Yeah, I
but
think
it just makes a lot of sense.
I mean, to me. But then again, I'm easily swayed with a lot of this stuff. I mean, we've done so many theories over the last almost 2 years at this point, and I'm usually on board with all of them. But it has to be at least a portion of it because, you know, like we said, Thriller Bark is not nearly as large as what God Valley originally was. So whatever happened there with the battle between, I don't know, Roger, Rocks, and Garling or whatever, broke the island again. And that, this was just a piece of it that was just floating out there. Maybe purposely exiled, possibly. Not really sure. But yeah, it could be Emu intervention with Uranus. And then, I don't know, a piece was just randomly saved. I mean, like, who knows when we're going to find out about this stuff.
Who knows? You know what my favorite part about this theory is, though?
What's that?
It's the fact that Blackbeard probably has this ship right now.
True. Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask next. I was going to say the significance of this has to come back because it is in the new world.
Oh, yeah. Like, Moria went over to fight Blackbeard. Moria lost. But like you said, he had Thriller Bark in tow. And when Garp shows up to fight Blackbeard, Thriller Bark is gone. So it's like, wait, what did Blackbeard do with it? I don't think Moria just, like, you know, set sail off on a ship after he escaped prison. I feel like Blackbeard probably has this ship with him right now. Because Blackbeard's Devil Fruit it allows him to suck things into his body. So there's a good chance that Blackbeard is just chilling with God Valley inside of him. Or Thriller Bark inside of him.
Also,
and I like the significance of that because Rocks and Blackbeard have a lot of connections too.
Man, I can't wait for that to all come full circle. Either he's his son or, I don't know, inherited his wealth or something like that. But you mentioning that them having it, which seems to be, you know, the Occam's razor decision at this point, it brings me back to Pizarro and his fruit, his island manipulation fruit. Do you think that would work on Thriller Bark?
100%. Yeah, because Thriller Bark's an island, you know? I'm just like, yo, if Blackbeard ever wants to travel anywhere, I think throwing Pizarro on Thriller Bark would be amazing. Because it's an island, but it's also a ship. So Pizarro could technically sail them wherever. And you know how, like, Hachinosu, it has a giant skull on its head? Or it has, like, a giant skull head? Yeah, he uses that to talk, right? I'm like, oh, that's kind of goofy. But when you think about it, Thriller Bark, it also has a mouth.
Yes.
So it's like, yo, Pizarro could just talk through those giant lips.
Oh, man, yes.
Now it just works so perfectly.
Yes, it is. I'm already convinced this is going to happen because, like, I'm looking at it right now, and there is a freaking mouth right there. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Oda's been cooking this one for a little bit. I can feel it.
I mean,
and it's so strange. Like, so sorry, but
no, please.
Oda could have given us any design for or not still. I keep on wanting to say Wang Ji. Yeah, like we're on the Wang Ji elephant torso or elephant leg guy now thing, but Oda could have given us any design for Ochoku, right? He could have given us any design for the Vega Claw dude. He could have given a different Captain John, but no, he brought all of them back into God Valley. And those are the same people that are at Thriller Bark. It's like, there's no way that's a coincidence. Oda was plotting. He's plotting something heavy here. I just feel it in my bones.
No, I agree. I mean, you're basically saying everything I'm going to say anyway, so it's fine. Because
Oh, yeah.
I was saying, like, if this is the truth, then he did have this planned for many, many, many years because it all goes back to Thriller Bark, which I think was like 2008 or 7 in the manga, right? 2008, around there.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So, wow. So, he's been cooking this before a lot of these viewers have been even born. Not saying that there's kids on this channel, YouTube. This is not a kid's channel, but, you know, it could be audience-wise. But I think that's everything for this theory. You know, we could just speculate for like 20 minutes what the significance of it truly is and why it's going to come back. But I think it will. Maybe it has some kind of significant mineral to it. I don't know, maybe. But that's it for this one, guys. Check out Sai's channel. He does spoilers just like me. He does the reviews. He does the theories. He does the collabs. He is the premier One Piece YouTuber at the moment, in my opinion. So give him a subscribe.
Oh, that's sweet.
Don't subscribe to me. You know the deal.
No,
And,
just stay at Zhoniin's channel, guys, please.
Well, thank
he's
you.
He's where I learned all my tactics from.
Oh man, Bill.
The guy's a legend.
You gotta go to Grand Line Review then. He'll improve your game even more.
Dang.
No comment? All right. Thanks, guys.
No, I love Grand Line. He's great on Twitter. I love him.
Yeah, me too. Wink, wink. Bye.
In like the final war against the world government, you're gonna have the world government. You're gonna have, let's say, whatever destroyed Lucia Kingdom. You're gonna have Iwin the Gorosei. You're gonna have potentially all the Admirals. You're gonna have the Seraphim. You have all these military forces across the entire planet on their side. On the opposite side, you have like probably Luffy and other crews leading the charge, major, massive crews. Then you got ancient weapons. You have Shirahoshi on your side, for God's sakes. You have potentially Pluton in Wano Country on your side.
And now
it's like, wait a minute, bro. And then you want military powers as strong as the admirals to defect? No.
Well,
No.
okay. Well, the question comes in now because we could have somebody there that could throw a wrinkle in everybody's plan, and Blackbeard.
Yeah, where does
Because if
Blackbeard?
Blackbeard is there.
Is he a big enough wrinkle to offset 2 ancient weapons? I don't know.
What if? Hey, this is
Blackbeard?
I don't know, bro.
this was a crazy idea I had.
Blackbeard with Kuzan.
He has plans. He has plans, but we're talking about like literal ancient weapon class things, my boy. We're talking about Pluton. We're talking about like Poseidon.
Yeah, but Blackbeard has the power to destroy the world.
Bro, listen.
But Blackbeard wants to side with the world government.
He could destroy the Red Line. He could knock him out.
There's gonna be a clear distinction once you see these things activate that these things are gonna be crazy.
Ooh, sure, Hoshi can call in a lot of fish.
That can like destroy entire continents. Yeah. I mean, I don't tell you, bro.
But the thing is, Blackbeard wants to side with the
might
world
have a third
government.
fruit by this point. Might even have his own ancient weapon. Who knows?
Yeah, there'll be exceptions,
Like, at this
obviously,
point-
but
At this point, we Blackbeard said he wants to side with the world government. So
Yes.
shouldn't that be taken
That's
into
cap.
consideration? But then,
that's his
but
plan.
here,
That's cap.
here's an interesting thought.
That's his plan,
Rago.
but that's not his goal.
What if?
Yeah.
Because when you think about Blackbeard, and I thought about this a long time ago. It's like when you look at it, Blackbeard's like he hasn't done anything to hurt the Navy per se until recently. But prior, it was all like everything except for essentially like No, even Marineford, except
about saying we're
for
talking
like the
about-
casualties, it was a large thing.
except
Like
for the
taking down Whitebeard and taking down Portgas, D Ace, Gold D Roger thing. That's a huge thing that he handed to them. The fallout is a separate thing. Now, are they happy? That's also a separate thing, because he became a Yonko.
Leverage par.
He became a
That's why he was able to
warlord
do
and a
these things.
Yonko. Yeah, and he has leverage.
He has
and
leverage now in Garp.
He always his title is an admiral, isn't it, or is it a commodore?
Yeah,
Commodore Admiral.
Whatever Teitoku is, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, they go back and forth between Commodore and Admiral, but I do think Blackbeard has leverage now because what if Blackbeard does a public execution of the Marine hero?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. I mean,
the inverse
do.
Marineford.
Yeah.
You think he'll do that? Or but
Well, they
I
do.
thought
Sengoku, Sudo, admirals, they pull up, and then Blackbeard's like,
I think the whole
Right
point
now,
of it
where we
was that
are,
he wanted to have a bargaining chip. He didn't want to actually. He doesn't want to kill the people. He
Agreed.
wants to.
No, but what if he has to
That's why
force
he
their
stopped
hand?
Kobe that's why, like in Kuzan's mind, it's like Garp is more valuable than Kobe because
sure.
Garp is a bigger bargaining chip,
Yes.
right? So
Right.
we don't know what Blackbeard's full plan is, but it does seem like he's actually genuinely trying to line his ducks in a row to
Yes.
be on their side.
No.
Agreed. Because
He does want to be a king,
No.
though.
No. Not to be on their side per se,
He's
but
already
he
a king.
want. No. I think that he wants their assets so he can use that to get the One Piece.
Yeah, or whatever
Yeah, there's that line.
treasure
Like-
Marie Raw has.
The
Yes.
One Piece? No.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think
not the One
Blackbeard-
Piece. I don't know about the One
It's
Piece, but
No.
King of the Pirates,
Blackbeard
World
does not.
Control,
Blackbeard
yeah.
does not care about becoming a king of his. He's already a king of his own.
he wants to be
country.
king of the world.
No, exactly. He wants to be the world.
Yeah,
king.
like
It's like
That's what I'm
Rock.
saying.
inheriting
Rock.
Rox's will. Rox
Yeah.
is
That's what I'm
trying to
saying.
sit
Him
on the empty
aligning
throne.
with the world government is just to basically fuck them over again. It's not to basically work.
I
with
think
He's
they're
them.
all
going
on
to be
the
their
same
ally
side.
on paper, but he's going to get power by being an ally with them,
Yeah.
and then he's going to be able to use their assets like I think other kingdoms can do. It's like
Listen,
even more so because he has Garp under
If the
control.
world government
The reason
allows
why I'm saying
Blackbeard
that-
to use their assets, then they should lose.
But that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
I would not
Like,
trust him
we are
again.
gonna
I would have
lose.
trusted him
He
again.
fucked you over before,
So,
like he
but
literally
the-
did.
The main point, though, is what you said there, right? He wants to be on their side until he gets what he wants. Then, so the reason why that's a distinction is because his actions up until that point would be
But that would
like
be
on
bad,
the world
though,
government.
because it doesn't make
Yes.
any sense. Why would
makes-
you even be close to trusting Blackbeard?
When have we ever thought the Gorsei have made great decisions? Let's be
And
honest.
That was pretty,
like
yeah, Kuma was a good decision.
Saturn, maybe the hive mind
Saturn
is
from a good decision.
Saturn
Saturn's great.
alone, great decision. All
Right.
five of them together, who knows? Who knows what's going on in there?
Investing in Vegapunk was pretty smart too.
Okay, hold on. So think about it, right? You have all of these countries that right now that are like revolting against the world government and they're not paying their taxes. Then you have the hero of the Marines, Garp, someone that people rely a lot on for their moral support. He's captured by Blackbeard, and then people find out that maybe he may be executed. What's the point of trying to seize control or trying to rein in control over the Grand Line and other blues when the hero Garp, who's the major pillar of that, he may be on the verge of death? So the same way how Whitebeard, he died, what happened? Oh, all these are pirates, like Brownbeard, other cats, they pulled on up. Whitebeard's territories, they're ours now, we're taking them. So in the same way, you want to make sure that you still have face with the people. And you have to make sure that you align with Blackbeard to make sure that he doesn't kill Garp. Because Garp is going to be on ice for a minute. Man. He ain't going nowhere.
I think they definitely save Garp or find a way to help Garp.
Good luck.
Maybe because Garp is the face. What if you usher in a new era with somebody else, or you basically set the example to Seraphim?
The
We just
only
saw-
person
we
to be
just saw-
Kobe in the future, but that's it.
We just saw Doflamingo walking around like a menace out there. I don't know where he's coming from, but he just fucked some shit up.
How did Dofi do this? What the fuck?
The Seraphim.
Dofi?
That's
Dofi's
Flamingo.
still in prison.
That's Flamingo.
He's not,
Oh,
He's living
oh,
vicariously through the Seraphim.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Flamingo.
Everything S Flamingo does is a Dofi feat.
Of course.
I love that. I love that.
I guess you say, I mean,
But
fair
no,
enough.
I don't
It's
like-
not Mihawk kind of.
Sure.
But it's like, it's
them
just funny.
trusting Blackbeard. I can't wrap my head around it.
The only
I agree.
that's why it's a good chance that Shanks was right. Like, yo, listen, man, be careful of pirate, bro. In case one do anything, be
That would
careful.
be redundant.
Because
That's
it wouldn't because these guys, they think they're the absolute. And then they have, and again, they want to maintain control. How can you maintain control of the entire world when
watch out for
vast
Blackbeard,
swaths
bro.
of population, bro? If BB's gonna try and infiltrate the world government system, then that proves Shank's correct. Because obviously he want that.
He became a warlord.
For a warlord, he's a king of his own country now. Now, and he has Garp. Remember, what was he doing before Garp? Well, he was, because we see it with Amazon Lily. He goes to Amazon Lily. He can't get Boy Hancock. Fine, fair enough. But he grabs an entire battleship, and then he grabs 800 prisoners. And then Kobe's like, no. Take me as tribute. Okay, fine, Kobe, he's tribute. But up until then, and also he has slaves too now. He's doing almost the exact same thing the Sons of Dragons do. He has slaves. He has people that are captured as prisoners. He's trying to take battleships.
No,
he's
I feel
trying
like
to amass.
We agree with the goal. I think that the goal is to become the king of the world. Okay. That is his goal.
Through the world government, he's trying to also amass.
No. My thing is the world government. If in some way you trust Blackbeard, again, that is horrendous. Maybe
given the circumstances,
like the circumstances would have to be like they lose all their admirals, and then they need like a powerhouse, right? And that's why I was bringing up the whole naming thing. Like, is it weird that he's an admiral? And it's like, and we just talked about how all the admirals could flip. Could it be that the world government folds and they're like, well, you want to be a part of us? And then the naming scheme fits, and then Blackbeard ends up being like a military might that like they need. And Blackbeard having Whitebeard's fruit, having the Darkness fruit, having Kuzan in his
on the true throne. Sits on the true throne.
Imagine Kuzan,
because that's actually something that happened.
But because he's doing for Blackbeard, bro. He's doing for Blackbeard.
At the end, so like, for example, with like the pirating world, the whole like warlords being privateers, pirates that were sanctioned by the government, that was a real situation that happened where England lost their top navy member mainly because of taxes. Like, they couldn't pay people anymore, and so he left. He became a pirate, and then he got hired by the government still. So he left, and then he was this cracked pirate because he was their best navy, and then he became a pirate. And then he became a warlord for them. And like that's like actual.
They're going to abolish the warlord system to then create another warlord in Blackbeard.
No, they already have them.
I'm not saying this. I'm just saying
Blackbeard. That's what he'd be, right? A warlord.
No, he wouldn't be a warlord. He would be like in the same way that we see all the kings go to reverie.
Yeah, they give him promotion.
He actually make decisions like the other kings can.
Oh, you're a god lord.
Yeah, he's a god.
He would set a new precedent.
Maybe they make him a king and they bring all the kings from every country to fight with the world government. Maybe King Rika's going to get in there. Elizabello.
You know what?
Maybe
he wants to be king of the world. Maybe they appease him. You're king of the new world.
No, I can't imagine the world government working with Blackbeard again, though. That just sounds
that's awful.
Silly. I feel like the world government would. Like if Blackbeard has Garp as leverage, I can see the world government attacking Blackbeard before allying with him.
Bro, that's insane.
Wait, say that again?
What do you mean it's insane? Like the world government attacking Blackbeard?
The world government attacking.
Pocket thing I've heard today. What are you talking about?
Brother, they're attacking Luffy, a Yonko. Like,
wait.
And they're attacking Luffy because of Vegapunk. If they have Garp, they're gonna attack Blackbeard for Garp. If Garp is really the pillar of the Navy, then they're gonna go out of their way.
But he's also filthy claim.
You know,
we have all those
other just make Blackbeard a celestial dragon.
No, dude, hold on. You understand? During Amazon Lily, during Amazon Lily, there was a reason why the vice admiral, the dude that turned to stone, Yamakashi, he said we have to wait for orders before we do anything to these guys.
But Blackbeard was inconsequential. Like, they're on a mission.
Now
Blackbeard wasn't stopping. Yeah, now he has Garp. Now we got to attack him. Like, forget the orders. Forget the orders. Yeah. What do you mean?
No, because. Remember how they had to gather all of these forces? Like, they had to gather 100,000 elite people. They had to get the warlords, all these cats, just for one dude, Whitebeard, pulling on up. Now you're going into the new world that you don't control, and you're going to go to one of the main bases of a Yonko to try and take back Garp? Nah, that's not a smart idea.
It's not smart, but people run on emotions,
I think they'd much rather just let Garp
You think they just let Garp die?
Because if they let him die, if they let him die, people are going to revolt all across the world because people love Garp.
Yeah,
and if people aren't paying their taxes,
I doubt.
So you have to
don't think the
acquiesce to
world
Blackbeard.
government.
That's the only
I don't
business.
think the world
Or you could
government
fight
would.
Blackbeard. You don't have to just cave in though.
Bro.
You
I
don't
don't know
have to
about
sell
the
it
world
right
See
on
a
rip.
fleet of like 50.
Maybe test. Okay, how about this? Test it out first. Send like
15
CP0
Marine
over there at
battleships.
least. Try
15
it.
Marine battleships are going to be
And
pulling
send
on
us
in,
Hawk.
and then out
Yes,
of nowhere,
send-
you're going to have one giant black hole absorb them into an
Or
abyss,
just send
and they're all
a
going to be
Kainu,
dead.
he'll get the job done.
No.
Yeah, send a
bro.
Kainu. You know, Blackbeard was running from a Kainu. Blackbeard
Yeah.
was like, "We're not ready to fight this guy yet, right?
Bro,
Come
y'all
on, come on."
And
Just
Kuzan
send him over
tripping.
there.
Kuzan got PTSD. He's like,
Y'all
he don't
tripping,
want
bro.
no smoke.
Yeah,
Coming
yeah.
to
I
his
don't think
crib.
so fold.
They're coming to
I don't think
Blackbeard's
the world
crib.
government
That's not happening.
side. The world government, I don't think, but that's also a question, right?
Word
Because
for volcano.
Garp is a D clan member. Like I don't know if the world government would, but I feel like a Kainu would probably fold and have
The
to.
Marines,
but
the
that's
Marines
where,
would want him.
But that's where Sengoku and like Suru and those characters fall into line. Like Oda keeps them relevant, and I would imagine it's because like they're gonna have some kind of mix in with the Garp situation, right?
Like I
Because
said,
they were
I
already
agree.
talking about shutting down Cross Guild,
Yeah, 'cause
and
they're
if they
probably
shut
sword.
Garp is captured, then yeah, and then there's a whole sword section we haven't even talked about, but like God knows what they're doing, training snipers and flower guns and shit like that. Like
I agree that
I don't even know
Blackbeard
what
has
they
the
can
world
do.
government in a quandary right now, right? And they have to
Yeah.
make a decision. But I think
Kazan is
working
volcano.
with Blackbeard might be worse than just letting Garp die.
Nah.
Yeah. No.
I mean,
Blackbeard's gonna burn you either way.
Initially,
agree.
no, but in the future, yes, but they won't realize that.
We won't realize that.
They have
No.
the Carfax though. They know.
Well,
They know
no,
that
are we gonna
Blackbeard said
say-
it before.
Blackbeard has burned everybody he's been with.
problem
He's
is that-
knocked
but it's-
Impel down now.
But it's different when the dude has an entire country of pirates at his disposal. He's a Yonko of the sea, so he controls a part of the
Okay,
world that
we
you
have-
go. Wait. He's a Yonko of the sea, so he controls a whole part of the world that you guys can't control. And on top of that, he has
Does he
Garp.
control it though?
Well,
Does
yes.
he? And can they not, or do they just? Are they just poor and broke? And they can't afford the taxes?
no. We know
That's what Whitebeard did. Whitebeard was literally busting his ass, working all those years to make money to
for one
subsidize
island.
all
For one island. For one
not
island. Okay.
all the island. No, all of the territory.
For his hometown.
right?
Wait, what the hell?
I thought it was all the territories.
It was for
Like,
Marco
Isn't that the whole point of having the territories, that he protects the territories?
No.
Like it's like Big
I think
Mom.
he just-
No.
taking this horse from everybody.
Before Big Mom, Fisherman Island was fine under Whitebeard's protection. They didn't pay him any taxes.
Yeah, I
they
think it
didn't
was
give any
he
candy.
just didn't tax
Yeah.
them.
They're not
Yeah.
paying taxes, but they just need the protection, right?
Yeah,
the
they
name,
need the
right?
flag.
The
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Okay,
That
so it's
flag
just the
protection.
name on those
That
other
flag.
ones. So it was just his hometown that he was Like you're telling me,
Oh, yeah,
Whitebeard,
Finks Island,
one
yeah,
of the
Finks.
Yonko was like stressing about money for his island. Like he was like didn't he say like, oh man,
hometown.
all money's dirty
Finks.
money, it's criminal activities, and it's like one town.
His
I feel
hometown.
like pre
Rob's
time
got
skip
a
Luffy
silver
could have
tongue,
done that.
bro.
Bro, his hometown, bro. Like, it is what it is. Like, home hits the heart, bro. It
Listen,
is what
bro,
it is.
I think the world government, they got to make a decision with Garp, right? Like, what do we do? But
They leave him.
I think
But they
it's
don't.
I think it's worse to work with Blackbeard.
I think
You're
the
letting- you're
Navy
letting the-
will make
fight
a
him.
choice.
You're letting another devil in, you know?
Okay. Okay, so then let me split this in a different
How
way,
many
because
Yonko level
you,
cats?
Zhoniin, are in the minority here, where most of
I
the
usually
creators
am.
here believe
It's
that Kaido is beats Saturn, and so then I proposed them a next question, which was, so if they think that, and Cole has a we're not gonna say bias, that's a banned word here, but Shanks is kind of a favorite character, but so I asked the question: if Shanks walks in the room with 5 Gorosei, who walks out? And by walking out, I mean fight. Like they fight, and who walks out? And so I already kind of gauged where you would answer, but would it blow your mind to know that some of these guys think that Shanks beats all 5 Gorosei?
Not at this point, after I've heard them talk for the last 2 hours. No, not surprised at all. But I do think if they all gang up on Shanks, they're for sure killing him. That's just an unfair fight. But I think it gets really interesting 1v1.
1v1. So if Shanks, you think Shanks could run a gauntlet on and get a heavyweight through the
Man, that's like saying, can
Wait, do you think
Luffy
Shanks-
run a gauntlet on the admirals?
Okay, yeah,
I think Shanks can use 5 commissaries.
It's all it takes, yeah.
I think
Just
so.
One,
one
two,
commissary.
three, four.
Pretty much,
That's
bro.
it. That's
5
it.
Do the
combo.
cockroach. Just
Oda-
spin around.
The
Boom.
first
Oda
one,
goes
observation,
insane.
observation hockey is off. All right, switch is off.
Yeah,
Right, none of that.
he's canceling it.
That's it.
Well, it'd be crazy if Oda goes straight. He pulls a straight like Bandai Namco Mugen. Like he hits us with the 1 combo, 2 combo, and then it's a 5
bro,
combo.
Shanks is getting out of that room, bro. He's getting out of that room.
Yes, of course.
Bro,
That-
okay.
so-
for
so-
context,
Sabo's out of the room.
Like
bro, here's the thing.
1v5
Here's the thing
Shanks
for context. Here's the easy
Sabo,
example.
that's what they say.
Sabo,
But
got out
Sabo
of the
didn't
room.
win.
No,
He
no,
ran.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
but that's the thing. They say get out of the room. Right?
Oh.
No. See,
Parsing
walks
beats all of them.
beats. Yeah, no, because Cole is massing groups of people with the walks out of the room, and all the people are like, yeah, Sabo, Wapo got out. No, Cole thinks that he squashes them like a bug. Like that's what he
No,
thinks. because-
whoa. That's a bug. Calm down. Easy, slugger. Easy.
Oh, okay, he squashes
Easy.
them. The bug was too. Okay.
Whoa.
All right,
Like-
let me
like-
quote New York City
Think of
then,
it-
Cole. Let me
think of it-
quote.
Think of it like
You
a misbehaved dog.
You said Kaido would squash Saturn like a bug. Then I asked you who's stronger, Shanks or Kaido, and you're like, Shanks. And then I said, so does Shanks squash the Gorosei like a bug? And you were like, easy.
Wait, no. No.
Then we spent the next.
We have the footage. I don't recall the word.
Oh no!
bug being
3
used here.
minutes of the 4 hours, bro. And then it was
Bro, you have the
next
footage.
time I'm recording.
Listen,
Next time I'm
Fair enough,
recording.
fair enough. You record. What I said was simple, okay? What I'm thinking that because it all comes back to the same idea, where who are the people that are worthy of being the final fight for Luffy at come the end of the series? And I've always said before that there's 3 cats I think are worthy: Blackbeard, who will get up there eventually; Shanks, who's already there; or Emu. That's it. Those 3 cats.
You
Can
hesitated on
Emu-
me that night.
I mean, I'm saying, but like, can Emu defeat all 3 of the Gorosei? I mean, all 5 of the Gorosei. I think it's possible. Maybe not, but I think he maybe on paper could do that.
Yes,
so
he can.
if we get to that point, so why not someone like Shanks? Why not someone like Blackbeard, who are also, in my opinion, worthy of being that final villain? That's it.
So so
I got Emu above
it's like
I don't know about
to be
Shanks as
honest.
final villain, but Blackbeard for sure.
Well,
I
final
like
fight,
getting
final fight.
the different
Okay, final
aspects,
fight
right? So
aspect.
Zhoniin, on your own, do you feel like Shanks is equal to a Gorosei or well above a Gorosei, where he could take out multiple, like running back to back to back? And then maybe he loses by 5, but like he takes out 2 or 3. Do you think he's that strong, or do you think the Gorosei are stronger than Shanks, like individually?
I wouldn't say he's well above them. Not at all.
Okay.
But they're comparable, I guess. I mean, that's why this conversation is fun, because there's like no real empirical evidence that we have yet. It's kind of just like, well, I think this. Just Shanks is like portrayed to be ostensibly the strongest character in the series at this point, right? I mean,
Yes.
who else is more
Correct.
impressive than him? No one that I could think of. Like, Emu is built up to be the big bad, and their devil fruit is implied to be incredible, along with the rest of the Gorosei, but
True.
Shanks just, oh my god, that sequence where he goes against Kid is the craziest stuff we've seen so far. He foresees the future, then one-shots him.
And flies too. Don't
And
forget the
flies.
flying.
Jumps across the coastline.
Oh yeah,
and
he
gets
like
him.
he shows up in like what, like less than 10 seconons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kinda
He
crazy.
sensed it, flew, and then looked at
Killer
them.
is the extra fries on the side.
Yeah.
Like, hey, by
So-
the way, you're going down too, big boy.
And then Heed
No.
and Wire went down, which is really sad.
Yeah,
UK,
the
Pop,
Runnings.
Emma.
Oh, by the way,
all-
I'm sorry, but Dorian Broglie already set up.
Yeah,
Bye,
So then,
ciao, and
my
that's over.
question when people say that, right? Like I just have a weird place of where like the Garland fits in, because like is like Shanks like way stronger than the Supreme Commander of the Holy Knights? Because if it's the Holy Knights and Gorosei and Shanks is above that, then it's like Shanks is beating around his like slap boxing his daddy. Like I
Hey,
just
yo,
feel like
listen.
that's not
I think
shown.
Hey, yo.
Shanks can beat his dad.
I
Yo,
think he
there's-
can, but
Because
if
his
you're
dad's
saying
out of his
he's
prime
beating-
and everything too.
I agree that he can
Yeah,
beat
that's
his dad,
bad.
but if we're saying that the Holy Knights are here and like we're questioning Admiral level, and then the Gorosei are above it, and Shanks is above Gorosei, then that means he's slapboxing his daddy a little bit. You know what I mean?
Wait, hold on. First of all, love this idea Eric said, Red Force podcast. It's a funny idea. I don't think it's true, but What if one of the treasure chests was Shanks? What if Baby
He's a
Shanks was
prize.
in the tree?
He should have suffocated then.
He was one of the prizes. That's kind of funny.
It'd be like Yakuza. He would just be like a crippled by the time he gets out of there.
But then also, real quick, who's to say that all of the God Knights have to be on the Admiral level or above? They can be just one or two. That's it. It doesn't have to be all of them. They don't have to be all Admiral Plus.
Oh yeah.
All of them.
It's like the Straw Hats. They're not all
100%
strong.
will not be Admiral Plus.
Yeah.
Because how the hell do you not control the new world when you have these guys? This doesn't make sense. No matter how I slice it.
Oda would have to
It's
say
because they're lazy, bro. Like they didn't do anything during the reverie. They didn't do anything during the reverie. They're lazy. Come on. Come on. What did we say earlier? Like they're waiting on the order.
Come on.
Like,
You let
their
four
house
of
is
these
burning
Uber
down, and
pirates
these guys are
control-
just sitting in the toilet.
4 Uber pirates control a whole section of the planet. Why can't you guys go in there even though you guys can match?
Because they're insects to them.
It's
They're
like wondering why they
oh.
don't attack Luffy when they realize he had the Gumu Gumu no Mi, right? Like,
They did though.
Cole, do you look at your
but they
front
could have sent
yard?
like an admiral
Do you-
too. Like,
Cole-
if somebody
But that was
pops up in
too
the
late.
world with the middle initial of D, I'd be like, yo, send the whole
They
force.
found out, but they found it in the last arc that he was the Nika. So that's what they said.
Yeah, but they knew he was a D from the get go. Like his first
Yeah, but you're
down
not gonna
impression had to be-
you're not gonna kill like every D in mass.
I would kill every D. I would play it safe. I don't know.
But Cole, do you look at
Like,
your front yard?
they don't play any strategy games over
Do you
there.
look
They
at
don't
your
have
front yard,
checkers up
Cole,
there.
and stomp on every anthill you see, and see the ants have an
It's
entire
not like that, bro.
civilization.
It's not
If it's
like
an
that.
animal-
It's
That's
not
how they
like that, bro.
Saturn literally comes on like these are
I'm pouring
insects.
water on the
It's like-
anthill. They're
If
dead.
it's not my
an
front
anthill,
yard.
get it
It's
out
like-
of here, Par. I'm sorry.
It's like
Especially near my
it's like
house,
the
dude,
Boros
come
they
on.
have there.
One Piece is rich in characters, lore, and epic clashes, but one of the most memorable fights happens on the island of Marineford. I think you know what I'm talking about. Before we get into the two big contenders, let's talk about what brought this insane fight on. Marineford's prison holds the most deadly criminals, and is also the place where they're executed when their threat potential is too high. Portgas D. Ace was sentenced to such a fate, mainly because of a bad matchup, and being Goldie Roger's only child. Had he been killed in the way that was planned initially, maybe the outrage and disastrous loss of life that came after would have been lessened. Instead, Akainu Eika Sakazuki made sure to put Ace in a specific position and killed him as he was protecting Luffy from the deadly attack. That's when all hell breaks loose. The fact that this violent death and the devastation and shock of everyone around is televised lends to the events that come after. The whole world has seen not only the loyalty of pirates towards each other, but the brutality that the Navy can dish out. This is where things start to heat up. In the pirate corner, we have Whitebeard, aka Edward Newgate, the captain of his own fleet, cherished by his pirates and battle-scarred from decades of using his earth-shaking ability. He's got a large bounty to match all his unbelievable feats. A rival of Goldie Roger, a former Rocks pirate, and let's not forget he was one of the Yonko 4 emperors before his death. In the Navy corner, we have Sakazuki with his codename Akainu, a vice admiral known for his extreme justice and insanely strong Magma Logia fruit. He's already got some hits off on Whitebeard and will stop at nothing to take out high-profile threats, like using a buster call against non-combatants and children. Who will win? Kainu's on a mission, and that involves ending anyone that poses a threat to the balance of the world. Evidently, that meant he was going for Luffy next, his original target. As he rushes after them, Marco and Jinbei's interruption gives Whitebeard time to approach with his massive presence. His giant angry figure looms behind Akainu, ready to destroy him for taking his son away. He pounds his large weapon on the ground, the reflection of it crossing Akainu's stunned face. As the Vice Admiral turns around, he sees the purest form of rage that anyone would be terrified to face. All Akainu can do is brace himself for the strike when it comes, and Whitebeard wastes no time as he reels back, charging up his fist with his tremor fruit in a growl. This practically flattens Akainu into the ground, forcing Akainu down even with him fighting back the best he can. The shockwave blows air in all directions, making it hard to even stand near the two combatants, so Whitebeard's crew rush away. It seems more like a gravity power with how it turns Akainu nearly as thin as paper for a second. Whitebeard isn't satisfied though. He leaps up to get more distance between him and his enemy and drops down with his leg covered in power, barely giving Akainu time to escape. The Vice Admiral rolls away, minimizing the damage as he tries to recover, but Whitebeard rushes after him, swinging his massive Naginata blade down so hard it creates a cloud of dust. That's enough for Akainu to use it as cover, launching flaming hot shots from his magma-covered fist. Whitebeard doesn't stop his approach, tanking them all head-on and with his bare and already injured chest. The final burning hit strikes Whitebeard's head, melting half his face with it. Too bad the anime had to censor that, and made it seem like Whitebeard only lost his mustache. The air clears, and they rush each other, with Akainu fighting back more intently now. Whitebeard grips his sword and blocks the attacks with his left arm. It's hard not to notice how tiny Akainu looks in comparison to the pirate captain here. He can barely reach Whitebeard with a kick before he's thrown across Marineford with a single punch. Thoroughly out of breath and definitely hurting, at least if we go according to how much blood is on his face. Akainu lies on his back as Whitebeard slowly approaches. With a beast-like groan, Whitebeard leans down, winding up his arm for another massive blow, but this time Akainu overcomes his pain and fear, launching magma at the giant pirate. Using his Logia's capabilities, he moves more fluidly and closes the distance with a molten heat. Akainu turns to his powerful Hellhound blow and makes another hole in Whitebeard's already devastated body full of injuries, clearly burning Whitebeard's insides the way he did with Ace not long before this. His crew certainly noticed the similarity, the worry plain as day across their faces. Akainu continues having the upper hand, shoving his unfathomably hot fist deep inside Whitebeard's chest. It hurts enough that Whitebeard seems like he's done with the crackle of flames inside him. As Whitebeard falls to one knee, Akainu finally gets to look down at his pirate enemy, breathing heavily, but not letting his guard down this time. He even has the gall to tell Whitebeard to resign. Whether he means to lay down his life or give up on revenge, it doesn't matter. Whitebeard looks completely finished, the fire raging from within his flesh. His face is hidden behind the flames, but he still grips his naginata. Seeing this, his crew all panic and worry for the man they see as a father. Whitebeard's boys call out to him, hoping he'll respond to their pleas, but the one voice, the one child that wakes him from this state is Ace. As he opens his eyes, the fire burns before them, and it's like he's seeing Ace's devil fruit. Eventually, Whitebeard's vision clears up, and he sees his crew standing with bated breath, praying he's alright. That's all the motivation he needs to continue fighting. The giant captain grabs Akainu by the shirt collar, lifting him up into the air while still kneeling. The terror in Akainu's eyes is unmistakable. He knows he should have finished him off before. Whitebeard stands, slowly bringing Akainu up until they're eye to eye, and when Akainu gets a good look at his gaze and what it means, he launches him into the air like a rag doll. Whitebeard activates his tremor fruit and envelops his fist with it as he prepares. With his arm folded back and letting gravity bring Akainu to just the right spot, he waits, watching and charging up all he has in him. The rage boils as he pictures Ace and what's become of him because of this Marine. With every second that Akainu falls, he relives that devastating moment, and then the Vice Admiral is exactly where he wants him. With a terrifying backhand, Whitebeard smashes Akainu in the side so hard that most of his ribs had to be shattered. But that's not all. It's almost as if he struck the space around him. Akainu's side is dented in multiple spots as he moans in pain, Whitebeard clearly trying to pay him back for all the suffering he caused to Ace the Whitebeard family. Though Akainu was bleeding before, it gushes from his mouth now with the sheer power of this attack. Everything around them begins to split apart, the tremor fruit known for its unbelievable potential. It may even be able to destroy the world in the wrong hands, but demolishing one Marine isn't enough. No, Whitebeard takes down the Marina HQ with the attack. It breaks the ground everywhere around him, causing Marinas to fall underneath the base. Debris flies in all directions, spreading across the entire island of Marineford. Every building leading up to the top comes crumbling down like dominoes. Even Sengoku is helpless to this show of power, covering himself to avoid being injured. Large slabs of land begin to tip and slide, as if Whitebeard created an avalanche from the buildings. Marines scream in horror, unable to grab on to anything. Sengoku is left aghast, eyes wide in disbelief, and Akainu falls over at last, suffering from that monstrous attack. Whitebeard watches him slip down along with the ruptured ground, appreciating the view of him falling into the darkness below. Unfortunately, some pirates struggle to stay on land with the wreck that Whitebeard's made, and they cling to each other to climb up. Meanwhile, Marines keep falling into the water, with no one to help them get away from danger. That's when it becomes evident that Whitebeard aimed his attack deliberately for the Marine side, forcing them away from his crew. The headquarters continues collapsing, with Navy flags falling down in a way to represent justice for Ace's loss. When the shaking finally ends, Marco is the first to notice where Whitebeard is, on the side of the Marines, prepared to hold them off. He stands unwavering at the edge of the fissure he's made, his back to his family. He breathes heavily, blood covering his body, but no one can deny what he's accomplished. Sengoku can't even believe he has this much power after all those injuries, but what makes this moment even better is that Whitebeard tells him, "You haven't seen anything yet. This towering captain will do whatever it takes to make sure no more of his children are lost today." He slams his weapon firmly on the cracked ground before swinging it with all his remaining resolve. As they start shooting at his fleeing crew, he slashes them and strikes them down, keeping them safe until the end. Dozens come for him, but he never falters. He pushes them back and sends shockwaves of tremors when more show up, damaging even more buildings. It looks like the 72-year-old strongest man in the world wins this battle. Unfortunately, Whitebeard wasn't counting on Blackbeard and his newly acquired crew jumping him. Along with the Marines he's still fighting off, and he loses his life in the end. We can't overlook the fact that Akainu pops up again despite his gnarly injuries, still trying to punch a hole through Luffy. His need for absolute justice must be as strong as Whitebeard's love for his family. Akainu survived, but he didn't kill Luffy. Whitebeard died, but his crew got away safely, so maybe it's more of a draw. This fight was both heartbreaking and satisfying in turns, but it left a lot of major consequences for the series. In terms of characters, we lost two powerhouse characters, Fire Fist Ace and Whitebeard, both from the same crew. Blackbeard the traitor acquires Whitebeard's devil fruit after he and his gang of fiends finish him off. Similarly, Luffy and Jinbei were scarred by their entanglement with Akainu, despite escaping with their lives, so I guess they gained something too, even if it's not as useful. And let's not forget how many pirates and marines were injured and likely killed during this conflict, and it wasn't enough to capture Ace, turn him into the Marines, and start a massive war. The remaining Whitebeard crew fought Blackbeard's pirates in the Payback War, but lost everything. So without their precious father, and having lost so much, they decided to stop their story together and disbanded, and some places protected by Whitebeard in the past became less safe. Some surprising changes happened for the Navy too. Sengoku, the fleet admiral, steps down from his post, and so does Garp the Fist. Luffy's grandfather was seconds away from attacking his fellow Marine Akainu for what he did to Ace. If not for Sengoku holding him back, there might have been a very different end to the fight, or maybe Whitebeard wouldn't have needed to get involved at all. The two retired Marines stay on as mentors, but it's mostly for the Navy to save face. Speaking of which, the most vocal opposition to Akainu and his unbending beliefs is Kobe, and he's Garp's mentee, as well as a member of SWORD, a spy-like special forces team. In a more crazy turn of events, guess who gets promoted to Fleet Admiral? That's right, Sakazuki himself. I suppose he perfectly demonstrated his loyalty to the Navy in the war, if nothing else, and has done so by being a disgusting human being countless times. Interestingly, but not so surprisingly, the Marine HQ switched spots with the G1 base after the disaster that war was. This was a decision done by Sakazuki, who believed it would help keep threats at bay. Not only is the new base much larger, but it's much more defensive in nature. Oh, and let's not forget how the style changed from traditional Japanese architecture to a more Western design. Luffy's mother's Crocodile. Now this seems odd because, well, Crocodile is clearly a man, but this has to do with the combination of two theories actually. One is that Crocodile used to be a woman and asked Emporio Ivankov to change his gender so he could be a man instead. And the other is that before Luffy was born, that's when Crocodile was involved with Dragon as a woman and got pregnant. This sounds crazy, right? Is it too out of this world for even One Piece though? Not really. People can change their ages, shapes, and forms, with devil fruits almost always being the cause. The rarer the fruit, the more it can do. So is changing one's gender permanently really that hard to imagine? Well, let's not decide until we look at the details that are involved with these theories. This video wouldn't be possible without the help of the amazing One Piece theory crafters and all their compiled ideas. I combed through them and picked all the best things I could find to convince you all. Hopefully. Part 1. Crocodile was a woman. This stems from the very vague secret that Ivankov has been holding over Crocodile and using against him. At first, people thought Ivankov simply knew about the extreme weakness to water that Asuna Nomi has, but seeing as Luffy and others figured that out too, it kind of loses its importance as an option. Let's just spell it out. Ivankov's devil fruit can change people's genders, and Ivankov blackmailed Crocodile by threatening to reveal his past. Not just that, but there's the small detail of Ivankov constantly calling him in a demeaning way by adding boy to his name. If you recall, Ivankov only does that usually with people below or younger than him, but Crocodile shouldn't be so far in age to receive that kind of treatment. Then why? It could be due to the information Ivankov has on Crocodile, and a means to constantly throw that fact back in his face, in case Crocodile ever gets any funny ideas. And taking the man's no-bull personality into account, you'd expect Ivankov to be struck down the first time he ever called Crocodile in such a disrespectful way, but it still hasn't happened. In any case, if Crocodile was a woman and didn't want anyone to find out, that would be a pretty insane secret. You know, kind of like how Sanji is part of the Germa family, or Zoro having ties to Wano country through the Shimotsuki family. This is by no means a new theory. It's been going on since April 2009, just days after the chapter with Ivankov and Crocodile talking was released. It certainly doesn't help his cause that everyone in Baroque works was so gender specific. Everyone was either Mr. or Ms. or Mrs., with even Crocodile having the added Sir in his name, as if he didn't seem manly enough for us to tell he was male. But adding more fuel to that fire is the one and only Bon Clay. As an Okama, he presents himself as both male and female, dressing as a woman and wearing makeup, but having the voice and code name Mr. 2. Not to mention his power allows him to replicate male or female faces. And since Bon Clay comes from the same place as Ivankov, it's pretty interesting that Crocodile would have someone like him in his crew. By this, I mean Ivankov might have also blackmailed Crocodile into taking Bon Clay in as an employee. And if you'd like visual evidence, some things come to mind. For example, there's the handful of images we've seen from Crocodile's past. In his youth, he looked more effeminate than most other little boys, and some take that to mean he was a tomboyish girl. Recently, this belief has gained more traction with the release of the live-action series. In case you haven't watched it, there's a flashback scene during Goldie Rogers' execution with an unidentified woman watching the event. Some believe it's Boa Hancock, but many other fans are convinced it's Crocodile before his gender change. Even in the anime, the only shot we have of him for this moment is from behind, where it's hard to tell exactly what he looks like. The same can be said for the manga panel, which most consider to be more canonical than the animated version. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought it was Crawlo instead of Crocodile. But anyway, in the newer manga arcs, there's also been the introduction to the cloned version of Crocodile being used as a Seraphim, who also happens to look quite feminine in comparison to young Kuma, Mihawk, or Doflamingo. We could even point out that his face shape and overall design is more reminiscent of Boa's Seraphim counterpart. A female-looking child, or is it just effeminate artistic choices? Part 2. Luffy's mother, the mystery. Considering this series has been running for decades, it's a bit strange to know everyone in Luffy's family, except who his mother is. Who is she? Why have we heard nothing of her? Or did she just die like all the other Straw Hat members' moms? That would be pretty depressing, honestly, but he's part of the big three, and even Naruto and Ichigo's mothers died, so it could be possible. But why does Oda put emphasis on certain characters? He said himself that he gave the ones that mattered the most specific details so they'd be memorable within the story. That includes Zeph and his leg, and Crocodile and his hook. Let's say this means Luffy's mother is in fact Crocodile. One of the biggest arguments against the idea is how he tried to kill Luffy during the Alabasta arc. Well, what if he didn't realize it was his son? He's been a long-time villain within One Piece, operating from the shadows most of the time. As far as we know, Garp raised Luffy, alongside Daden, with no one else involved. Dragon wasn't even present, most likely because of his role in the Revolutionary Army and the danger it would put his son in. So there's a chance that Crocodile gave over Luffy as soon as he was born and went his merry way afterwards, and never cared to get updates on his discarded child. I mean, after striking a deal with Ivankov to be turned into a man, of course. This brings us to Crocodile's fight with Luffy, that left our rubber protagonist nearly dead in one of his biggest losses pre-time skip. That's one of the most used arguments against Crocomom. A mother would never want to kill their own child. Okay, that might be true for some moms, but not all. I'd counter that by saying, have you seen Big Mom when she gets really hungry? Yeah, she would eat all her children if it was bad enough, maybe starting with Pudding since she treats her so terribly. So what if this was because Crocodile wanted to erase any evidence of his past as a woman, and the best way to do that would be to get rid of the child he birthed with Dragon? Crocodiles could simply be a bad person and wants things to go as planned no matter who gets in the way, including family. We've all seen how he treated his Barak team, throwing them around like garbage when they're of no use anymore. But naysayers are completely overlooking the moment when Crocodile came to Luffy and Jinbei's aid when Akainu was out for blood. He says it has to do with letting people be free to reach their goals without being stopped. And prior to this moment, Crocodile ordered Daz Bones, formerly known as Mr. One, to help Luffy when Mihawk was coming to take him down. Likewise, Crocodile stepped in when Daz and Luffy struggled against the Warlord of the Sea, making sure they weren't killed. And before all that, Crocodile helped Luffy to protect Ace, the high-ranking member of Whitebeard's crew. You know, the guy that Crocodile hates more than anyone else because of how badly he lost to him. Not to mention all these actions came after Luffy was revealed as Dragon's son. So Crocodile's sudden change in attitude is both confusing and suspicious. It's true that Crocodile might have just been helping fellow pirates get away from the Marines, seeing as he lost his title Battle of Shichibukai. But what if it was due to something else? Maybe trying to kill Luffy was just because he didn't recognize the Straw Hat as his child. But to be fair, most characters didn't know Luffy was related to Dragon or even Garp for a while. Garp hid it very well. And let's not forget that it's because of Luffy that Crocodile lost his position as a warlord. Even Garp would be pissed at Luffy if he made him lose his spot in the Marines, right? But let's touch on physical similarities now. Have you ever seen Don Lufione? Yeah, he's meant to look like some mafia boss working alongside Sanji and Zoro. But why is he the spitting image of Crocodile here? From the slicked back hair to the cigar hanging from his mouth, and even his scar seems eerily similar to Crocodile's when combined with the other two details. Zoro also looks kind of like Smoker, but that's besides the point. Normally, Oda's very good at separating how male characters are drawn. The issue is usually with female ones, who often look the same as each other. Like how many girls look just like Nami, his favorite, but in alternate colors, schemes. So what's up with all the similarities between Luffy and Crocodile? Sure, it's just a gag story not meant to be taken seriously, but considering even some title pages or canon parts of the story, who knows? Don't worry, I can't picture the two of them together in an intimate way either, but more importantly, have we ever seen Crocodile and Dragon interact? Well, no, but if we keep in mind that Ivankov met a young rookie Crocodile and is hiding a secret from way back then, let's just consider that Ivankov, who's part of the Revolutionary Army and helped found it, was likely with Dragon at the time, even if their organization didn't exist yet. And if Dragon was there at the same or somewhere nearby, then he likely met the rookie pirate as well. And let's not overlook the fact that the revolutionaries are located in the Kamabaka Kingdom, where Ivankov's like-minded citizens live. The connections between Ivankov and Dragon run deep, so it would be hard for Crocodile to never have met Dragon, especially considering his infamy in the series. Is it possible that Crocodile wasn't the power-crazed pirate he is now and appreciated Dragon's fight for justice from the Marines? If nothing else, it's easy to imagine that Dragon's struggle would appeal to Crocodile's appreciation for power-seeking. This isn't to say that Dragon fights the Navy to gain more notoriety, it's just a consequence of him helping people who have been wronged, even if Crocodile's past actions have been more self-centered. Pushing against different authority figures, like the world government or the Marines, aligns with the way the Revolutionary Army does things. So if Crocodile wasn't corrupted before and Dragon wanted to take down the nobles abusing their power. Now this all might be too much for some people to swallow, but even the most skeptical person has to agree that some of it makes a lot of sense. It's fine to deny some bits, but all of it, well, that's just ignoring how large and fantastical the One Piece world is. Do you want to be the one to decide where Oda draws the line in terms of storytelling? Besides, if your only issue with this is that there's too many contradictions in Crocodile's characterization for this to be true, I say to you, what person stays on a single path for their entire life, never straying for a moment? If nothing else, this makes Crocodile a more interesting character.